Hello, 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 and welcome. Happy Wednesday. I was going to say Sunday. Happy Wednesday. Geez, Louise, how is everybody doing today? Let's see. Let's see who we have in the chat. Our topic today is 5 reasons you need a DEXA scan. We're talking about that DEXA scan again on a GLP-1. So we're talking fat loss, we're talking muscle protection, and much, much more. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to share with you the 5 reasons you need a DEXA scan on a GLP-1. And I have a special guest up here to share her DEXA scan, and I'm going to share mine. And, we are going to just talk about it. Let's talk about it. So let's see who we have in the chat, and then we'll get started. So I see we have DJ Meyer. She says, happy Wednesday. Looking forward to more. Geez, Louise. And giggles. That is too funny. That Geez Louise is cracking people up. All right, Lakeisha, she says, hey, DD, hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We have the fabulous Mel to the B. She says, happy Wednesday, Dee and DJ. DJ Meyer beat everybody in here today. How about that? I love that. That's too funny. Okay. Yes, everyone hit the like, subscribe button. I appreciate that. I always find it fascinating how they say, like, when you look at your little analytics, they say the majority of your watchers are not subscribers. So the watchers, you got to subscribe. I love that. All right. Hi, JC, Calamity Jane. How are you? I love saying that. Calamity Jane. She says, I hope everyone is well. Yes, yes, yes. How about that? My girl Nicole is in the house. My girl Nicole is in the house. When I hear that name, I want to sing a song with you in your car like that. Because when I'm in my car, my daughter and I, we're singing songs all the time. We are singing everywhere we go. All right, who else do we have in here? People are saying hello. Simply Taisha, how are you? She says, happy Wednesday, Dee and Divalicious fam. I love that. I love that. And people are saying hello. We got Z in the house. I said, Z's in the house. Hey, Z. Who else? I don't want to miss anybody. Let's see. Oh, wait, I see. I hope you feel better soon. I have a sick hand, but hopefully it will be okay. I'm going to show my daughter your video. She's going to love it. I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. But yeah, I hope the hand is feeling better. Oh my goodness. Jeez, Louise, I hate to hear that. Linda's Journey, how are you? She says, hi, Dee Dee and Chad. Who else? Oh, Kelly, how are you, Kelly? She says, hi, we got Real Journal Talk with V. Hi, Dee Dee and Chad. Hey, Real Journal Talk with V. We got M to the V to the P. How are you? How are you? She says, hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm glad you're here for this DEXA scan conversation because you wrote some good comments in my comment section. We got Nicole, who can fit all of her body into one side of her pant leg. Remember that? That is this lady. I call her the biggest loser in the best possible way. I love that. I love that. That's going to be like on my post for infinity, I guess, until YouTube takes it down. I'm not going to, unless you want it taken down, but I just think that's a classic pick. I love that. Bellflower, my twin, Nicole, how are you? How are you? All right. Harjareen, she says, hello, Dee Dee in chat. Harjareen. Now, if you want to come and share your DEXA scan, I remember saying that to you in an email because I but I go over her DEXA scans for her and compare them. So if you want to get on here, feel free to get on here and share because you are doing it and doing it and doing it well, doing it and doing it and doing it well with that DEXA scan. You are getting fit, my friend. I love that. Losing it, Grace. How are you? How are you? What are you saying? Oh, male to the B with the hot bodysuit. Is that what you're saying? Oh, no. But I love it, whatever it is. Sydney, how are you? How are you? You're looking so classy and cute. I love that pic. She says, hi, Dee Dee. It's great to see your happy, sunshiny, smiling face. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. We got Jess is in the house. She says, "Hi everyone. I'm looking forward to learning more about our DEXA experiences during the live tonight." Well, I'm excited that people want to learn about this DEXA scan because I feel like it's kind of like a hot topic because some people are all about it and some people are like, "Huh, you don't need it." So over here, I'm pro DEXA scan, but if you're not, that's okay, and that's okay too. All views are welcome. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait, did you say somebody has a new profile pic? Did I not see that? Did I see this with Lakeisha? Lakeisha, her and Bev are like neck and neck for changing these profile pics. But you know what? The reason why I didn't notice it because I watched one of your short videos and you were in there looking super fabulous. But look at that hair! Oh my gosh, the red hair. Every time I see somebody with colored hair, I think I want to do that, but I'm just too afraid. I'm more like a plain Jane. I call myself. People don't agree with that, but I think I'm a plain Jane with the hair and the colors and all that. Like once I like something, I stick with it until for some reason I can't. And then I gotta let it go. Okay, Keisha is always looking fabulous though, isn't she? Hey Jamie, how are you? You got a cute profile pic too. I love it. Esther, how are you? Wait, am I saying it right? Um, S Esther. Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Okay, okay. All right. Margie, how are you? How are you? Okay, we got our folks covered in the chat. Okay, so let's get started. So before I bring up my special guest, which you guys know is the beautiful Mel to the B, I am going to talk about the 5 reasons we need a DEXA scan on it while taking a GLP-1. And, I'm going to talk to you from a perspective of somebody who was not supportive of taking a DEXA scan. Not that I wasn't supportive. I just didn't think I needed one. I was like, I didn't start with one. So why finish with one? That was my thinking. But, the more I saw and was learning about GLP-1s and learning about that muscle mass, I started focusing on that. I will say 2.0 Mommy and Simply Taisha, we're talking a lot about building muscle and working out and using that CC's compound, the compound. And so that really, and this was around, I remember the exact time. This was around Thanksgiving, Christmas time. And I know 2.0 Mommy, if you watch her video, she's always hitting that home. Her video comes out and it's about preserving that muscle, doing that strength training, all of that. So that is what got me thinking that I needed to get one. And I remember Simply Taisha's first live ever, she did the DEXA scan. She reviewed her DEXA scan. I remember being on there, listening to, I might have caught the replay. I don't know. I don't think I was in there for that exact, live when she did it, but I know I watched it back. So, and even then I wasn't so convinced, I was like, oh, okay, this is great. But, as time went on and I thought, okay, I want to know what's going on inside my body. So I thought a DEXA scan is the best way to do that. So I'm going to tell you, the number one reason that you should get a DEXA scan, honestly, is because you're going to track your muscle. You want to know, are you losing fat or are you losing muscle? You want to lose fat, but you don't want to lose that muscle. And how will you know? It's going to be from a DEXA scan. Now, I'm going to tell you, we know GLP-1s are powerful for helping us lose that weight, but the scale doesn't tell you what kind of weight you're losing. And I know people say, I got a Renpho scale. I got a Renpho scale. And my Renpho scale is off the DEXA scan. It's not lined up with the DEXA scan. And I don't even look at all that stuff. You know how you guys are like, my scale says I'm 54 and I'm really 44. My scale says I'm, 22 and I'm 52. I don't look at that. I don't really look at the water weight and all of that. You know why? Because I know in the next 3 months, I'm going to be getting a DEXA scan where the information is more actual and factual. Now, it may not be perfect, but, it's the gold standard. I didn't come up with that term. Mel didn't come up with that term. I've heard, some top-notch doctors say that, they say that the DEXA scan is the gold standard. With that said, is anything perfect? Absolutely not. But this provides a benchmark. And I think if you want an accurate benchmark, you should go with the DEXA scan. Now, if you want to be off, go with your scale. So if you get a DEXA scan though, and you find that your scale lines up with that DEXA scan, go with that. But even if it's a little bit off, it's still going to give you that benchmark. It's still going to put you in the vicinity of what you need to do with your weight. So a DEXA scan shows your exact body fat. Okay, for the people who say it's not perfect, we're just going to say it's close to exact as we could get it. Your lean muscle mass and your bone density, which is important. So you're going to know if you're losing fat or if you're accidentally losing muscle, and that's what we don't want to do. And so, yeah, Mel's going to talk more about why this is important because she's gotten 5 DEXA scans. So she really has a lot of data to back up with her own experience what we're going to be talking about tonight. So the second thing, so that was number 1. The second thing is you want to protect your muscle while you're losing weight. When you're taking a GLP-1, you lose muscle along with fat. I think at this point, dare I say, everybody knows that. But if everybody doesn't know that, that is true. When you're losing weight, you're probably going to be losing muscle if you're losing it fast. But one of the advantages of getting a DEXA scan is, even if you're losing slow, because I'm losing slow and steady, and I lost a couple of pounds of muscle here. But I lost it because it's things that I wasn't doing. I wasn't eating enough calories, and I wasn't eating enough protein. So when I kept saying, when I went to get that second DEXA scan, I said, one of these kids is doing the wrong thing, and it was me. So I knew that going in. When I moved up to that 12.5, it kind of zapped my appetite, and I just knew, and I wasn't doing all the things right. And so I'm not going to blame DEXA scan. I knew what I was doing and what I wasn't doing. But the DEXA scan helped me catch, I lost that 2 pounds of muscle, and mainly they tell you exactly where it's coming from. Mainly it came from my arms. And so yeah, that kind of surprised me because I'm so quick. When I'm standing around or I'm by my bedpost, I'm so quick to do some push-ups. So now I know I need to push myself even more, like do a little bit more. And then I was going to Pilates, so I knew I wasn't, when I thought about it. Now at the time, I wasn't thinking too much about this. I thought, okay, I might lose a little muscle, but I wasn't planning on losing 2 pounds and being focused where it was. So the DEXA scan is going to help me fix that. So it's up to me what I do with that information the next time I go. So what could you do? You could adjust your nutrition to help you out before it becomes a problem. So that's what I plan to do. So number 3 is, and I think a lot of people have associated the DEXA scan with the bone density, monitoring your bone density, especially for women over 40, right? And I'm in that category because I'm 53. So DEXA scans don't just show fat and muscle, they also show bone health. Now I want to say here, you could get a DEXA, not a DEXA scan, but you could get a bone density test that your insurance probably pays for. That one is not what we're talking about. We're talking about in addition to that, you also want that body composition DEXA scan, because I know some people, I remember Geraldine. We miss you, Geraldine. Where are you? The fabulous Geraldine. But I remember when she was talking about getting her DEXA scan, and she thought she was getting a DEXA scan, like the whole works of the body composition. And she really, her insurance paid for it, but it was just that bone density test. So you want to take it a step further, even though knowing your bone density is important. And I was reading a fact, I saw this, and I think I've talked about it in a couple of videos, but if a woman falls past 40, there's 30% of women don't make it past a year or two, because if you fracture your hip, they don't make it because those bones are so fragile and they just kind of go downhill from there. And haven't you ever heard of a person falling and then that just kind of being like the slippery slope to things get worse and worse for them? And we do not want that. We do not want that. We don't want osteoporosis. We don't want any of that to develop. So what can you do to avoid that? When you get the DEXA scan and they say, oh, your bone density is not where it should be. Now I'm, feeling blessed because mine was in an excellent zone, which is great. So my goal is to keep it that way. One of the things you could do, or a couple of things you could do, is take some supplements. Hopefully you're eating, fruits and vegetables, getting these nutrients in, but you could take calcium supplements, vitamin D3 supplements. I would talk to your doctor if you're not already supplementing in some way, taking these GLP-1s, because, if if you eat less, you're getting less nutrients, and we want to make sure we're getting the right ones. So I would also add weights to this, adding those weight-bearing exercises, resistance bands, climbing stairs, walking, all of that is going to be great for your bones. So you want these habits to help you protect your bones and reduce the risk of fractures and osteoporosis, because if you're prone to falling, you should be on this ASAP, right? And I was one of those people. I have to tell some of you guys these stories. They're funny now, but in the process of it all, it wasn't funny. But I was known to wear some heels because I'm, 5'5", and I always thought I was on the shorter side. And I've been known to fall. And luckily, I just popped right back up. But I don't know how long that's going to last. I've taken my heels down a notch. I used to wear some tall wedges. I've learned now to bring it down a notch. So yeah, so you want to just protect that bone density. Sometimes we don't think about our bones. I think we think that, we're going to be fine. And I honestly, I've never heard of a lot of women who had osteoporosis. So I never really thought of it affecting me because I had never heard of anybody, that I knew in my close family and friend circle having it. But we know it's out there. We know it could happen. We know it's, that you have the potential to do that. My grandmother had hip surgery, and she was a small, petite lady. Her name was Tiny. Her nickname was Tiny. She was so small. She lived to be 92. But I remember she got a hip replacement, and geez, oh man, she struggled. And I remember thinking, she's so tiny. I think that, what if that remember thinking, what if that was me? I would just, the impact of it all. So yeah, so that was my closest experience with somebody who, had a hip replacement, or, just their bones weren't doing what they were supposed to do. And I'm trying to think, my grandmother, she ate pretty healthy. I think she was so tiny. She wasn't a big carb eater. She was like a meat and potatoes, not a potatoes, but a meat and vegetable lady. And she was heavy on that. And she would cook, a mean macaroni and cheese and grits and all that, pancakes. Remember, she cooked pancakes until we said we didn't want any more. But she always led with the meat and vegetables for her. And if she didn't have the meat, she had to have those vegetables. So I think that's probably why she lived to be 92 too. But she didn't decline shortly after she had her hip surgery. Her hip surgery, she lived 20 plus years after, I would say, at least, maybe even more than that. So anyway, number 4 is the DEXA scan helps you measure real progress that goes beyond the scale. So weight loss isn't on the scale is not the full picture. The DEXA scan is going to reveal some powerful victories. Now, I had this one. I wasn't expecting this, but when I had my last DEXA scan, I did lose visceral fat. They say that's the hardest fat to lose, and I was excited about that. And I let the other stuff kind of overshadow the fact that I had lost this visceral fat. So now I've learned since then the importance of losing that type of fat. So I'm taking that to the bank, and I'm checking it. Taking it to the bank. I'm taking it to the bank. So another thing it does is it shows that your lean mass percentage has improved. Now, in order to show improvement, you have to have more than one. Because I think some people are going to run out and say, I'm getting a DEXA scan. I'm getting a DEXA scan. What's up with my DEXA scan? And then you kind of, you're going to have probably some nice numbers there, right? Because this is your first one. But think about it as like your first one. It's like your benchmark. You have to get more after that so you could have something to compare to. So you can't see improvement if you only just got one. You're not going to know if you improved until you get the month over month over month. Or not every month, right? You could get every 3 months, every 6 months, at least every year if you're in maintenance, and you don't want to go that often. But if you're trying to do a body recomp, I think being regular with the every 3 to 6 months is perfect. So that's just what you need to do. You're going to see that fat, how that fat is distributed into your body. You can really work on pinpointing that. If I go to DEXAFit, if you're at a place that offers that extra support. I've heard of people who say, I went to my DEXA scan place. They just gave me this stuff. They didn't explain it. It was an extra cost to explain it. I was told that too. And I would say, fine, talk to your doctor, schedule something with your doctor. If the DEXA scan people or the DEXAFit people won't explain it, find a healthcare professional that will explain what's in that DEXA scan, because what's the use in getting a DEXA scan if you don't understand it? And I've talked to a couple people who got a DEXA scan and didn't even know how to read it, and we're stuck. And so you paid that much money to not even know what you were reading about. And, which is fine, because I think at the time when they scheduled it, they didn't realize that they didn't get the feedback. So I would go to a place and you could ask up front that offers that. So I would say, here's a tip for you. If you're trying to, recomp your body, or you're trying to lose weight and not have so much skin, or maintain your muscle, or whatever you're trying to do, keep a journal. Write down what your measurements were, write down what your fat percentage was before you go. When you get that first benchmark, write down what you come up with, write down what the DEXA scan tells you it is, and then start tracking from there. So I would track, your lean muscle mass percentage, your body fat percentage, and then your visceral fat. And your visceral fat is the fat around your organs. Those are the dangerous ones, right? That we want to get rid of. So I would do that after the scan. And where I go to DEXAFit, all that is kind of organized and for you. And then when I get home, I kind of do some things to organize it so that I can understand it for me. But I think keeping a journal is great, just to jot it down. The last thing you can do is, this probably is not the only last thing, but this is the last thing I'm going to share, is I want you to create a personalized, data-driven plan, right? I love the numbers of it all. So when you get your DEXA scan results, you want to talk to somebody. They should come up with a custom plan for you. So if you go in and say, I'm still in the weight loss process, I still have 60 to 70 pounds to lose. So I'm not going to go in there saying, oh, I want flat abs. Now that might be my goal for like the next year, but that's not going to be my goal in the next 3 months, right? So we want to sit down with a plan for me. And if you watch my DEXA scan video, if you didn't, check that out. I have 2 at this point. And I talked about what I'm going to do to show improvement on my next DEXA scan. It really gives me some goals to work with. And they work with you where you are, right? They're not trying to get me to be where Serena Williams is, right? Because I'm not Serena Williams level. So they're trying to get me at where I am at and show some improvement. So that is the goal. So I love a DEXA scan because you don't have to guess where you are. It tells you exactly where you are. And I know people argue and say, I don't know if argue is the best word, but a healthy debate is always great. But people say, it's not perfect. There are all these other things that factor in and come into play. And that is true. That is true. But remember, we're using this as a benchmark. This is kind of like the best tool we have, right? It's kind of like the scale. What else are you going to use besides the scale? Well, you can measure yourself, right? You could, you could use your clothes as a gauge on how you're doing. But we all know we're going to use that scale as kind of like our benchmark. Well, the DEXA scan is like our gold standard benchmark, right? There's also in-body scans. There's a lot of other scans, but this is the one that one of the best ones, according to experts and research, not according to Downsizing Diva. So if you want to argue that, argue with don't argue with the research. The research has spoken. But, it's not perfect. That is true. I will admit that it's not perfect, but it's a great start. So, and it's a start and stop, right? This is the gold standard, right? So this is the start and stop. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to come out with something, maybe one day even more fabulous. Maybe somebody will just scan us with our phone and be able to tell you everything about your body and it be accurate. Well, when that comes, we'll recognize that. But for right now, we're going with the DEXA scan. So one of the things you need to do, and remember I told you I was going to go to my doctor and show her my DEXA scan. She wasn't really that interested. Well, I'm going to keep taking it and showing it to her until she becomes interested. Because I think one of the things she's learning as she's going, this is not my gynecologist, this is my regular healthcare professional. One of the things that she's learning is the more information she has from people, the more she can help other people, right? They're kind of collecting data about all this too. And so I think the more people that are going into these doctors with DEXA scan results, they're going to be like, hold up, wait a minute, we got to pay more attention to this. So that is what I'm telling you. This is what Downsizing Diva is doing. Talk to your doctor, talk to your healthcare professional. I know some people were saying if you're a certain weight, the DEXA scan machines can't handle a certain weight. I would call and check on that. People were wondering, well, where can I get a DEXA scan? What I did was I just Googled. I went on Google and I put DEXA scans in my area. DEXA scan in my area, a whole bunch of stuff popped up, right? And I just picked one I don't know if I picked the closest one to me. I picked one. I'm like the type of person, like I want to know where like the people who are making moves go. Right? The people that are athletes, I want to know where they're going. In my area, they were going to DEXAFit. So that's where I decided I wanted to go. I wanted to go where people were, serious about their weight loss, serious about working out, serious about what they were doing. That's where I wanted to go. Now, I did want to mention, earlier when I talked about tracking muscle and your lean muscle mass and making sure you're losing fat but you're gaining the muscle and not losing the muscle. One of the things that the DEXAFit people told me was you got to eat that protein. They're like, Shay, you got to get this protein in. They said they had this program. My daughter was asking about this. They had weights and bikes and all kind of equipment, and my daughter said, Mom, are you doing that? And I said, no, I didn't sign up for that. And the guy was working with the guy over there. And so when I sat down and talked to him, we asked about what those people were doing. And he said they have a program. He said, but to be in the program and to stay in the program, you have to be a minimum of eating 100 grams of protein, a meal and a day, I should say, not a meal, a day. Like, so 100 grams of protein is the bare minimum. And he said, and if you don't, they kick you out of the program. And I said, really? And he said, no, for real, they kick you out of the program. He said, if you're serious about it, you're going to eat it. And I just thought that is so true. If I'm serious about it, I'm going to get it in there. So that kind of thinking is where, I thought this is where my mindset needs to be. Like, you're in it or you're out. And so I just was, just like, wow, they're not joking around. So that protein is really what you want to do. Another thing he told me, what I'll share with you guys is, I shared this before, the 3-7s. And somebody asked me on my Sundays, like, how is the 3-7s going to help you lose weight? Well, you could probably guess the 3-7s are, does anybody remember? How about that? Let me ask the chat. This is the teacher in me. Anybody remember what they said, what I told you the 3-7s were? And I think this is a great, and he called them the 777s. And I think this is a great strategy for beginners. Now, if you're like, I see my girl Taisha in here, my guy Round of Zepbound, my girl Mel, they might be beyond this, but this is for Downsizing Diva and friends. If you're on that slow and steady path and you got a lot of, more weight to lose, they're in maintenance. So I don't know, this might be cool for them, but they might probably be beyond this. Does anybody remember those 3-7s? Anybody? Yeah, there is a Groupon cookie for DEXA. I've seen them as well. Now, when I went to DEXAFit, they had a 10% coupon, and the 10% coupon, they also had a special, like if you get a follow-up DEXA scan. So when I originally got my first DEXA scan, I paid for a DEXA scan, I paid for a follow-up DEXA scan, and I paid for an RMR, which is that resting metabolic rate test. And I've had 2 of those. So when I went back the second time, that wasn't a part of the package, but I added that on. So Taisha came in there. Yes, Taisha. 7 steps, 7,000 steps, 7 glasses of water, 7 hours of sleep. So he says, Shay, I want you to do the 777s if you don't do anything else. You get you 7,000 steps, you get 7 glasses of water, you have 7 hours of sleep. So somebody told me, how is that going to help you lose weight? Well, we know getting the steps in is movement. That's going to reduce your, whatever calories you're eating, that's going to put you in a calorie deficit, hopefully. 7 glasses of water, we know we need to be drinking 7. We need to be drinking 8, really, right? 6 to 8 glasses, they say. If you get in 8, great. If you get in 7, you're in that 777, right? You're a 777 threat. So, and then the third thing is that 7 hours of sleep. And this was a struggle for me for so long, but now I'm getting it in, right? I'm getting in that 6 to 7. Sometimes on the weekends, I get in 8 to 9. So I am doing it well. So that was easy for me, like 3-7s. Okay. I never had a problem with the water, but I did have a problem with the sleep. I've kind of fixed that. So now I'm working on those 7,000 steps, right? And I'm doing things intentionally. I'm doing little things. I'm not doing the super big things, right? My goal is to to work out 3 days in the morning this week. And if I didn't get that, you know what I ended up doing? I ended up doing it at work and just walking. So like I park, if there's a parking lot where I could park that's close, there's a parking lot that's farther. I've been parking at the parking lot that's farther. One day I left something in my car on purpose that I knew I needed, so that I went up to, my classroom, and then I knew I would need to go back and get it. So that was extra steps, right? That I had to go back and get it. So that was something intentional I did to get the extra steps. My school is, a 2-story building. So I walk up and down the stairs at least twice a day. So, and sometimes I would hop on the elevator because I come in with a lot of stuff. Like I might have a coffee, I have my big water bottle, I have my lunch bag, and I have my school bag. So I get on the elevator because I got to hold on to something. I'm not trying to fall on those steps, right? So some days, if I'm on the phone with somebody, I'll hang up. If I knew I didn't get enough movement in, I hang up and I walk up those stairs. I don't take the elevator. Now during the day, I can't take the elevator because I'm with 3 kids. But so I've been making some intentional moves to like get those steps and everything in there. So I'm proud of myself for that. So that's what's going to help you lose weight. We know if you're not sleeping, you could, you have hormones that kick in, that, the stress hormone creeps in, that ghrelin hormone creeps in, and you're not going to lose weight. Your body is going to hold on to that fat. So you got to get the sleep. So that all that working together is going to help you with your weight loss. So I think I pretty much covered everything. Oh, another thing I want to tell you that the guy from DEXAFit told me is, I said, how much cardio do I need to be doing? That's when he hit me with the 777s. And he said, just walk. He said, but focus on doing things that are getting your heart rate up, but that are also strength training. So an example he told me is squats. He told me to do the HIT. He said, when you're doing squats, jump up with your squat. Don't just squat and sit down. He said, jump up, move with it, and do that for maybe 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and then do it regular, and then do it again where you exert a little extra effort. So everything he told me was strength training things to do, but just give it that little push with that hit. And that hit means, you're just, you're going fast, and you stop. So you bring your heart rate up, and then you bring it back down, but you're still moving when you bring it back down. You have not stopped. So that's a tip for anybody who wants to do that. And I think, stop thinking you got to do like all these fabulous, great things, with the weights. If you don't start there, start with just your body weight and work your way up. And one of the mistakes I made this here lately, because I had been working out, is I didn't start getting letting things get progressively harder. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I stayed with my 5s and 8s, and I should have been going up to 10s, and I need to get some even heavier weight, which is good, right? Because that's your goal, right? And one of the things you could do is you could do more reps, right? That's gonna help you, but you also need the heavier weights, right? You need the heavier weights. And this one, Vonda Wright, she's the #1 orthopedic doctor in the world. And she says, get rid of those cute pink colored weights. You could get you some weights and lift some heavy weights. So I often think about her. My weights aren't pink, but they are colored. And I think I need to get me some hardcore weights, but I'm not ready for that. And I think once I get hardcore, I'm going to be in somebody's gym working it out. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I know Charles is in the chat talking about the jump squats. Yes, Charles. I know he's in there talking about the DEXA. There are other places to go besides DEXAFit. So, if people are giving you suggestions in the chat, I think you should, just Google it, right? We could Google so many things now. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my girl, the male to the B, and she's had 5 DEXA scans. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, my girl, Harjareen, if you want to come on here and share yours, you're doing so well. You're more than welcome. I think I mentioned it, and I don't think you said anything, so I thought maybe she doesn't want to do it. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you want to come up, you're more than welcome. And I'm about to drop the link. Yes, ma'am. And then I think we have another special guest that's going to come on, but we're going to let Mel come up first and talk about her DEXA scan and all things related to DEXA. All right, so I sent the link out, mail to the B. We got to get her on here. Brenda's gonna be back in 15 minutes. Okay, we'll be here when you come back. I've been drinking so much water. I might have to go to the restroom. Oh, geez, Louise. I think I did drop the link, mail to the B. Okay, so I could go. Here she is. I was gonna say I could go up in the chat. Right. Okay. So mail
Hey.
to the B. How are you?
Oh, hi. Am I on?
You are on. In living color, you can do what you want to do. Live in color.
There
I
you
don't know why
go.
that. I wanted to play a song, like a theme song for Mel with these muscles. Can you flex for us? Look at the muscles. Look at the muscles of it all. Gee, oh my gosh. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I mean, I'm gonna get where I want to go. It's a hobby now. It's the it's addictive. It's addictive. And when I say it, I mean this health journey in general is addictive to me. And so when y'all see me out there in the YouTube streets,
I want to be moved
checking
like you.
people.
But you guys are always moved back. I'm like always up on the camera. I don't know why I do that. But I might need a bodyguard. So when we have our meetup, I'm gonna book you. I don't need a
Yes.
you. I don't need my bodyguard.
Okay. All 5'4.5". Mindy says I'm not 5'5". She believes I'm 5'4.5" because I guess I was the same height as her. I don't know if she's out there, but Mayor Mindy. Anyway, so there are a couple things I know that you asked me to talk about kind of where I started and where I ended. So I'm going to kind of sum it up. I'm not going to go into too much detail unless someone wants to know. So I had gotten an initial DEXA scan. I think it was the end of 2023, which I do not have access to. I went to a random place. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Fast forward, I got on GLP-1 meds. Everyone knows I'm an advocate for menopause and midlife health for women. And I struggled a lot. So I started March 20th, 2024, and I lost a lot of weight rapidly. And I don't even think it was inflammation. It was just a lot of weight initially. So I went and got a DEXA scan because I pretty much lost all of what my goal weight was by July. I go and get a DEXA scan. Girl, I was literally clutching my pearls because I'm looking over here at my results. So what ended up happening was I was at 128.4 pounds, and my initial goal was around 128. My body fat was 36%. My fat mass was 50 pounds, and my lean tissue was 74 pounds.
Wow.
Fast forward to this year, around the same time, beginning of August, I was and am, I think I'm doing better now because a few months have passed. My total mass has gone down by 10.5 pounds. My fat mass has gone down by 11.6 percentage points. My fat mass has gone down by 17.7 pounds. And my lean tissue is now up 7.2 pounds. So essentially, what I did was from last July to now is I lost almost 18 pounds of fat while gaining over 7 pounds of lean tissue. My body fat percentage dropped almost 12 percentage points, which moved me from the average category. Remember, I'm in my 50s to the fitness zone. I should be fit, is, based on what I do.
Oh,
And I don't do a lot, guys.
yes.
Honestly, yeah. So, the guy at the, well, first, let me share this with you guys. I go to this sports medicine place called Liquid Vita, and it's also a med spa. That's where I go most of the time. I was interested in DEXAFit, so I did get one of my scans at DEXAFit. My scans were almost identical. So, one of the things you want to do if you decide to go get a DEXA scan, like Dee Dee said, you can't just get one. And let me tell you why. I've had several people in the community, no names, all people that I respect, and everybody here, I believe, respects as well, who have sent me their DEXA scan results, their first DEXA scan result. And 2 of the 4 people, let's say, have said to me, my bone density is great. My muscle, I have so much muscle. And I want to clarify something that was clarified by a fitness professional and medical doctor with me. When you are overweight, you have more muscle. When you are overweight, your bone density is going to be stronger. Why? Because you are load bearing on your body, right? So you're carrying around a lot more mass. And as a result, that load bearing actually can strengthen your bones. So most people who are obese or overweight tend to have stronger bones and they carry more muscle. However, just because you have a DEXA scan where they tell you you're in the green, yeah, of course you're in the green. However, you're not green in everything. And that's the key.
No.
When you jump over and you look at your visceral fat, many people have dangerously high levels of fat in their midsection. And then the other part of that is just your overall body fat. It's extremely dangerous. So I wanted to clear that up. And I had said to Dee Dee that was something I wanted to make sure that I talked about, because I don't want people to fall for the okie doke and I do think that a lot of the DEXA scan places, they are kind of retail establishments. They want people to feel good. They want people to have something to hang on to motivate them. And I completely get that. But you need to understand that when you first go, if you're still in that obese range or that overweight range, you will likely be told that your muscle mass you got a lot of muscle mass. And you do. But guess what? That's not it. You need to go back and get a second one, and you need to get a third one. Why? Because that way you can see that progression. And of course, the goal is to preserve that lean mass and to lose fat. And I wanted to say, I did an overview. I got, Chat GPT. I uploaded my actual DEXA scans, all 5 of them. And what the overall results were is that I think I had already said this, that I basically lost 18 pounds of fat by gaining, and at the same time gained pounds of lean muscle, a lot of lean muscle. So it can be done, and you don't need to boil the ocean. You simply need to, like Dee Dee said, do 2 or 3 strength sessions a week. That's what I do. Trust me, I'm not doing crazy stuff. I do walk every day. I have a lot of NEAT exercise, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which means this is the exercise, this is the movement you do that has nothing to do with structured exercise. It's getting up out of your chair every hour and walking outside around your house. It's walking up the steps to go get something, even when you don't feel like it. It's being on a phone call and just maybe jumping on your walking pad if you want. So
And I
those are
will
the
say,
types of things
a
that
lot of
I
times
do.
a lot of times when we're talking, Mel will be like, "I'm on my walking pad." So she's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
moving. And so I've started trying to incorporate ever since my sedentary video, how a sedentary death syndrome, when people are just thinking they're working out for an hour and they're all the rest
yes,
of the time they're sitting down. And they talked about that's not enough. You got to be doing those neat exercises, right? And some
yes,
people call it active rest, right? You're not doing anything structured, but you're moving. So, a lot of times I'll have my daughter. It's funny, my daughter thinks she's in trouble because I used to have her go get everything, go downstairs and get this, go get that. So now I'll say, go down, and then I'll go, never mind. And she's like, Mom, I'll get it. I'll get it. What did I do? I say, no, I just want to get it myself. And she's like in awe. She's like,
yeah,
because I'm telling her I need to get it myself, like I need to get moving. And once I told her that, like she understands. So those little things, do add up. So I love that. I love that because you're doing things that are attainable. Like I don't feel like you're doing anything that the average person can't do. And I do think too, we wanted to get the message out with that DEXA scan that your goal. So right now, somebody might have a DEXA scan like me, because that's what I did. I had a DEXA scan. I was like, I got all this muscle. I'm elite, and I'm still saying it. I'm still elite, right? So
go ahead, girl, go ahead, hold on to it,
hold
hold on
on.
to it,
But
okay.
so the goal is, though, when I get to my weight goal, so when I get to that 150, am I still going to be elite? That's going to be the challenge, right? Not where I'm at now, but where I'm trying to get to. And I want to be in that, still in the elite category, but also having the reduced body fat. So I think that is that's a challenge, but that's a challenge that I'm up for. I was like, what am I here for? I'm here to make some lifestyle health changes, not just, changes until I lose weight, so I want to kind of keep that going. So I love that. So male to the B. So tell us what you're eating, because I think that that's also important. How much, protein
Yeah,
are you getting in?
I am getting in between 90 and 120 a day. There are times when I am just getting 90. I am in a smaller body now, so I do not really stress myself about it. I do not think it should be taken lightly, however. Um, the more that you can feed your body lean protein, the better. And again, and if you happen to be vegan, absolutely, there are sources. I know several people, including Taisha. I know what she eats, and you can get your protein if you are vegan. So that is a fallacy for people who say you cannot. I am not vegan, and I do eat a lot of lean proteins. I usually prep for a few days, ground turkey, grass fed ground meat. I definitely like to eat quality. Thank God I can access it. I know that that's not everybody's testimony, but don't get too caught up in, oh, seed oils, oh, grass fed. Just get the protein. Just get the protein. Go get some chicken. Go buy a rotisserie chicken. If you're vegan, there are so many tempeh and tofu and beans and whole grains, barley, quinoa, spelt, all of these just yummy things. And when seasoned appropriately, vegan food can be very yummy as well. I am a fan, and I do have a favorite vegan restaurant that I like to go to. So, if you're a person that feels like I can't ingest all of that animal protein, I would say consider it. It could be something you could consider because you can get a lot of protein. And by the way, I might add, protein is super important, but fiber is too, because I got to tell you, I have not been constipated as I was going through my active weight loss, I was never constipated. Why? Because my doctor told me up front, you need to get about 40 grams of fiber. And the reason why she explained to me that the reason why she wanted me to was because on this journey, obviously we know that your digestion slows, and so you're actually holding on to a lot of food in your body for an extended period of time. Now, that is extremely uncomfortable. So why would you do what the recommended daily allowance is of a minimum of 25 grams of fiber for a woman and be on this journey? It just doesn't add up. So you do need to try to get more fiber. Talk to your doctor, hashtag not a doctor, this is anecdotal information based on my experience, but I'm also repeating what my doctor has told me as well. So I'm not just grabbing it out of the air and saying, this, I heard this, I heard that. I'm actually getting it from a doctor who is a weight management specialist. She's a cardiologist by trade, and she's also a menopause specialist. So yeah, and optimize hormones. I always say that. But in terms of what I'm eating, let me get back to that. I eat twice a day. I don't eat breakfast. I get up. I drink a lot of water. The first thing I drink is this full of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and sparkling water. I usually have some electrolytes in one of these. And these are the first two things I do in the morning. And then I usually work out fasted. I haven't eaten. I don't like to work out on a full stomach. And then I usually eat lunch around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I start eating. And I have egg whites, maybe one egg to go along with it. It's a lot of protein. I have whole grain bread, usually Dave's Killer Bread. I have like a couple of slices of toast. I eat a lot of grains. I do realize I eat a lot of grains every day. And then I will sometimes have leftover salmon, because I usually eat salmon twice a week, and I'll eat my leftover salmon. I like it cold. Sometimes I'll heat it up, but I like it cold. And so that's usually my lunch or brunch, if you want to call it that. And then for dinner, I usually have 2 or 3 cups of spinach. I put that in the microwave or in a pan, steam it real quick. I usually will have a whole grain blend of like brown rice, barley, etc. I get it from Trader Joe's in the frozen section. I like their frozen rice. And then on top of it, I have my protein. I have corn. I eat a whole avocado. I usually put kimchi on top of it because the probiotics. I don't take any probiotic supplements. I backed off of a lot of the supplements because I was doing the most. I literally have a closet full of supplements, and it's ridiculous. My doctor was like, stop. You don't need all of that. So now I have my multivitamin. I take D3 and calcium, and of course my creatine. And I do take creatine every day. I take about 8 grams right now, sometimes 2 scoops, which is 10 grams of creatine. I love it. It makes me feel good. I'm very focused at work. I mean, it is incredible. But
What
again,
do you put in it? How do you mix yours?
I use about 4 ounces of orange juice or grapefruit juice with mine, but it tastes like nothing. You could literally put it in water, but I just choose to do orange juice. I mean, for me, low carb will never work. And I am not low carb. I know that Dee Dee always says, Mel, you eat low carb, because I've shown her what I eat.
You don't call it
Not,
low carb.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't call it low carb. I just don't, because if I want carbs, I'm gonna eat carbs.
Yeah.
And then I also at night, later at night, like in the evening around 9:30 or 10, if I'm hungry, I'll have yogurt, or I will have a Quest protein cookie with a banana and usually like a plum cot or something like that. So this idea of you can't eat past a certain time. No, my entire journey, I eat when I can eat. The best time to eat is when you can eat. That's the best time to eat. Just like the best time to take creatine is when you can remember. The best time to work out is when you can do it. That's what I subscribe to. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I can't eat late. If I eat late, it'll mess with my sleep even more. So I have to cut off that eating and by 7,
Okay.
7:30. And we've
That
been
makes
talking on
sense.
the phone, and I'm like, I gotta eat. I haven't eaten yet. So yeah. And sometimes I don't eat past 5:30. I can't even do that and don't eat till the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think one of the things when I was eating so much, I would eat late and go to sleep, and I never had heartburn though, and never had acid reflux or anything, but I would eat and lay down, and I just vowed I'm never doing that unless I just have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do if it doesn't work for you. I'm just a person that it doesn't matter. And I usually don't go straight to sleep. I usually will be up for like another couple of hours. But again, I just want to I want to really, I know that there are a lot of people out there, some people we adore, some creators we adore, some who are my friends who I like and care about, who may not be in support of it. I just say this: if you don't want to do something, don't do it. Don't discourage other people from doing something that could be game changing. Taking that DEXA scan in July changed the trajectory of my health journey. And I was able to do it, but you must be consistent. You cannot expect to start doing something and 2 or 3 months later to see the results. But you can start now. Start now. Get a DEXA scan, understand where you are, and make some small adjustments as a result of that. It may shock you initially, but trust me, you will not be disappointed. I've never spoken to somebody who's been disappointed after getting a DEXA scan. Not one person. They always go back and get more. I know Harjarine is a great example of that. She is phenomenal. And when I look at her and she's out there running and racing with the kids and little kids in her family, I don't know if those are her grandkids or whatever, but that tells me that this woman is working her butt off. She looks freaking good.
Well, her results too. Like
So,
every time I'm analyzing her
and her
DEXA,
results, which I haven't
yeah,
seen,
she
but
makes
you have,
improvement. Like
obviously.
the improvement, you can see it. I always say you can see it, but it's in her numbers too. Like it's in her numbers.
Yeah.
So she's doing a great job. I want to back up to something you said because I think this is kind of important. When you said we love some people out there who are getting these DEXA scan results and they might be disappointed with the outcome. I think you have to give it some time too. So, they recommend 90 days, which we know that's 3 months. But
Yes.
I think if you're one of those people that you need to see that I lost more than like 1% body fat, then don't go every 3 months. Then maybe you need to go every
Don't.
4 months, or maybe you need to spread yours out to 6 months. But I think, putting it out there that if something is wrong with the DEXA scan, it's not you know, it's not something wrong with the DEXA scan. It's maybe you went too soon, and got your results, or maybe, you thought what you were doing was enough, and maybe you needed to kick it up a notch, or so either that, what you're doing,
Yeah.
you need to probably kick it up a notch, or you didn't give it enough time for what you were doing to show through. And not 2 months is not a lot. You at least have to do that 90 days, and then you could go past that if necessary. So I thought that was a great point. All right, so we have a question for you, Mel. I saw a question in here.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wanted to know
Cool.
what was your starting weight?
My starting weight was 154. Well, let's say 155. And my current weight is kind of low. It's a little bit lower than what I probably want it to be. So it's about 115. So I've lost about 40 pounds. I don't dose on a weekly basis. And when I reached that initial goal of like 128, that's when I found out that I had lost a lot of muscle and kind of changed what I was doing. I'm very happy where I am now because I am very, very lean. But if I picked up weight, I know based on my lifestyle, how I feed my body and what my activity is, I know that if I gain, like I'm not going to freak out. If I gain 5 pounds, if I gain 10 pounds, I literally would be okay because I know it would be lean muscle because I live a healthy lifestyle and I feel great and I don't feel like I'm giving anything up. And so that's why when I hear people say, talk about cheat days and this, it's like we have to shift our mindset and understand, do what you can do what you can stick to, but understand that if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you want to do everything the same, and again, I just disagree. This is just a disagreement, just a disagreement. You can't say that I am going to have the same similar habits, eat the same type of food, and then think that you're going to have the best results. If you live off of protein shakes and protein bars and protein cookies, unless there is a financial reason, although those things cost way more than whole food. You can go literally buy probably 20 chickens, 20 baked rotisserie chickens from Publix for the same amount that you're going to buy those protein shakes and stuff. We all know, right? So I would say to you, and I would challenge all of my friends in the community who say, no food is bad. Okay, let's take away the good and the bad. And I'm gonna do a Shay, a Dee. Let's reframe it. Yes, let's say there's no bad food or good food, but there are foods that are unhealthy. Red dye number 10 or 8 or 9 or whatever the red dye number is, you know, GMO products, genetically modified, which is a lot of our food, of processed food, frozen foods. And I used to live off of frozen foods. It was just convenient for me. And wine. Like, I wasn't really even eating that many calories. I was just not eating healthy. So I just urge you to stop. Don't be defensive about your weight loss. Like, be open to looking at other ways of doing things. If you say you want to get where you want to get, then you got to do you got to do something different. That's just what you got to do. So no judgment. I'm just saying you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth and say, well, I want this and I want to do this. And my plan is to, but then I'm not changing anything I'm eating. I'm just going to eat a little less of it. Come on, y'all. Come on. So that's my opinion.
Well, your opinion is so valid, and you are results oriented, right? Because you've shown your journey and how you've done. But I think too, I like how you, we had this conversation. I said, well, let's not say bad foods, let's say unhealthy. And part of that is I'm trying to teach my daughter, not the good and the bad foods, but the healthy. It's definitely a healthy and unhealthy. I think we can all agree to that. The unhealthy and healthy. So
I don't know. Can we?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I said,
Let's ask the chat. Like, me, I'm going to talk about it. So let's ask the chat. Do you think there's a such thing as healthy and unhealthy foods? I do. I think there's unhealthy and healthy foods. I think the chemically made foods, I mean, we know that those aren't healthy, but, we eat them, right? We're eating them. Some of us are eating them more than others. But we're eating those, and all those have a place. I think what you're trying to say is, and you could stop me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're trying to say is, while you're on your journey, follow the straight path as long as you can, for as long as you can.
yes.
When you have holidays and birthdays and like Thanksgiving, Christmas, your birthday, my daughter's birthday, those days, and we don't want to call it a cheat meal, but you're just gonna, have a little bit of
it's not a cheat meal.
But that's not like every day. You're saying every day you shouldn't be indulging in some kind of treat every day because you're still on your journey to lose weight, right? And so
even if you're staying within your calorie. Well, it's in my calorie goal, but this is not just about calories in and calories out. Because now if you're saying that, you're subscribing to diet culture. On one hand, you're saying that's subscribing to diet culture, good food, bad food, unhealthy food, whatever. But you're subscribing to it too, because you're over here talking about cheat days. So it's not a cheat day. I just had a birthday. Shout out Leo Nation. And guess what? I had nothing but cake. I had it. I had one day and I had another one the next day. And that's okay. That's okay. What I'm saying is, if that's your consistent mentality, mindset, actions, if that's what you're doing all the time, I personally don't think that you are putting in as much work as you could be putting in while you are actively on your journey. You can't say that you want to lose weight and you really want to get this done and but yet and still turn around and say that you want to eat the same things and eat less of it. And then who knows what happens in this administration? We don't know. They talking about, I think Charles at Round Mound, I call him not so Round Mound, of Zepbound, he did a story a few weeks ago talking about how insurance companies got lobbyists up there trying to pressure the politicians to limit how long you can be on a GLP-1. And we said a lot of things before the pandemic. That would never happen. No, there's no way this would happen. There's no, and a lot of that stuff has happened. We've had a global pandemic. We've had craziness happening in our political world. Like it, a lot can happen. So why would you not prepare yourself? And nobody's saying you have to eat right, like twigs and stuff like that. You can eat actual food. You can even have a dessert. There's great options for non-GMO protein ice cream. I have something called protein pints. So if I do want something cold and sweet and I want to treat myself, I'll get the mint chocolate chip or the peanut butter protein pint, and I'll eat a half of a pint if I feel like something like that. So we got it. And I was doing that throughout my journey. But again, that whole 80-20 rule and eating mostly whole foods as much as you can and as much as you can afford is really where it's at. And so I'm very passionate about it. I stand 10 toes down. I will not back off of that mindset. This is not, and by the way, a lot of people say, well, we can agree to disagree. No, because guess what? There's sometimes in life, there is a right and there is a wrong. Everything is not, oh, well, there's a point here, this side and that side. Sometimes there's a right and a wrong. And
well,
to me, this is
right and the
a
wrong,
right
though.
and wrong.
You can agree to disagree, right? You can still say,
Yeah, you can still agree to disagree, but I just want people to, you already know how I feel about that, Dee. Some things are not a matter of opinion. Some things are factually based and scientifically based.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So
most
anyway,
people say,
okay.
I love it. I love it. I want to talk about it. Simply Tommy Bites Life says, I agree. Do the same thing, get the same results. Let me just say too, this live, we had planned this live a while ago, right? We planned this a while ago. I said when I got my next DEXA scan, and I said this on live too, so it's on live, that I was going to invite Mel on to talk about, my DEXA scan, her DEXA scan, and all of that. So I don't want people to think like, oh, we just decided to bring Mel on today. This was planned a long time ago. And if
yes, it was.
I plan ahead. I'm not like a last minute. I
was over there making waves. I was over in another channel yesterday making waves. I know I was, but I wasn't trying to, I promise.
Yeah, she was. And I said, people are going to think like we decided to do this based on that. And no, this was already planned a long time ago. So I just wanted to say that because it's true. All right. So
it is true.
Davina said, yes, of course. When we said, are there good and bad foods? Absolutely. Reset with Anissa said. Cookie says, yes. Me? Oh,
is that me?
Look at you. Look at you. Yes. All right.
Girl.
Show her picture. You know what? We got to stop and give her some confetti mail. Let's give her some confetti. I love it. I love a good profile pic. Mia, I put a face to a name.
Yeah, face to a name.
Oh, so sweet. I love it.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So I got to get back on I always get thrown off. Melanie. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Name to it. Yes. That's my government name. Yes.
The healthy and unhealthy foods. Yes. I love the unhealthy and healthy. Okay. Very good. Okay. So JC is hitting us with there are value added foods and non-value added foods. Well, all right. We're going to give you some confetti for that. Cause that's another.
I like that. I like it.
I could teach.
The problem is that I'm just going to challenge my friend JC, who I really adore, is that some of the non-value added foods actually are also detrimental. So it may not just be that they don't have any nutritional value. It may be that they actually harm you. So I just want to put that out there. But girl, we can talk about it another time.
Duly noted. Okay. It's Darian. He says, I think there's a difference between healthy and unhealthy. I also say that people have to make the best choice they can make with what they have. Some people don't have access to the best foods.
That's what I said. Agreed. Agreed, my brother.
So I'm going to tell you guys this story. Now that Darian says that, a lot of it is to your mindset. I'm going to tell you this story, and I probably should save this story, but I'm not. So I had of somebody I know, and she had said, this is what I mean by mindset. So this lady said she had a son, And she said she didn't have any money for food for the next couple days. So we were out hanging out. This is before I was a mom. This was like back in my 30s. So, we were out hanging out. So I gave her, I said, okay, I didn't have that much money on me. So I gave her what I had. But what I had, I was thinking, I was like, okay, so she could buy a bag of potatoes. I said, when we left, she was going to the grocery store. I said, you could buy a bag of potatoes, you could buy some hot dogs, you could buy some bread, condiments if you need to have condiments. But I'm thinking she's going to have enough stuff for a couple days when she said she was going to be getting money from her kid's father. So get home, talk to this girl on the phone, make sure she got home, right? Because she's going to the grocery store. I could call her and she's not answering. I'm thinking, God's just taking her a long time. Come to find out, this girl had went to the barbecue spot and got barbecue, like wings and fries for her and her son that only could last her the one day. So it's
Yeah,
like the mindset. What is the mindset? So I'm saying to you is sometimes people say they don't have access to things and they do have access. They could make better choices and they don't always make a good choice. So it's like, okay,
true.
so instead of
Very
her,
true.
she got something she wanted. She probably wanted those wings and fries right now and didn't want to go home and cook or whatever. But you made that poor choice when now your son and you, supposedly from what you said, can't eat for the next 2 days because you spent all your money at the barbecue spot. So what I'm saying to you is, Darian, we know that people sometimes don't have access, but sometimes people have access and still don't make the best choices. So we're never talking about the people who can't make good
Yeah,
choices.
we're never talking about.
We
Right.
know that those people are out there. We know that there are food deserts in places. We know that, some areas don't even have a grocery store. The nearest grocery store is miles and miles away. So we're not talking
That's
about
right.
those people. We're talking about people who do have access to make a better choice. And sometimes, you know what? They just want the quick, fast, easy way out. And that's what this girl took. And I just will never forget that example. And when I said to her, why would you do that? He's supposed to be, what about your son? And she was like, well, it's just, I wanted it now. Like, she's like, I didn't feel like going home and cooking. And so, I was just annoyed because I'm thinking I'm giving this girl money thinking it's going to last her for some days. And,
Wow.
I think what my mom said to
Mhm.
me was, you did what your heart told you to do. You can't worry about what she did with the money after you gave it to her. Like, and she's like, don't go
Right.
give her some more money because you don't know what she's going to do with it. So anyway, I just wanted to tell that story, and I have a million stories like that, but I'm just going to hold those until I retire.
I have some too. I definitely have some too, and that's okay, So, but I think, thank you for saying that, King Darian. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. But, we're never talking about people who just don't. So, yeah, that's a given. But
yeah.
there are a lot
And
of
I
people in
want
our
to say,
community, people we personally know who make decisions based on what they want to do. And guess what? They're grown. We're just advocating for a different way of doing things. And I believe this is one more thing I'm going to say, Dee Dee, and then I know you need to go because I think you have somebody else coming up. I believe that there's a lot of, there are a lot of unhealthy sort of mindsets and unhealthy narratives that have taken hold and have run wild. And I also believe that because of that, voices like mine, for example, get muted. And it's this whole eat what you want to eat. Just take the pit, just take the shot. Just eat less of this and less of that. And because that's the narrative and people are saying, yeah, there's no more diet culture. That doesn't mean we don't have to do anything. Come on. That doesn't mean we don't have to try to be healthier. But I want to be a voice of what I consider to be reason, a voice of reason, an alternate way of thinking. I know there are other people like Yolanda, and while she says some things that I don't agree with per se, she mostly says stuff that I do agree with and I do subscribe to. Um, I do believe that obesity is a disease. I do believe that some people have the disease of obesity, and there are people that have the condition of overweight. And maybe they don't have the disease of obesity. So nothing applies to everybody, but I want to be an alternate voice to the voices of those people, those voices that are on this bandwagon of doing what you want to do, eating the same things, but eating less of it. Because I just think the other narrative is so powerful right now. And I do not think in the long run, it is the best thing for our health and wellness. So that's that.
I do want to say too, though, that I think when you first get on these medications, like for me, like my personal story, when you first get on these medications, now I taught health. I know the food pyramid, it has changed since I first started.
Yes, it has. Right?
Now here recently, but so the right things to do, the right things to eat. You don't always necessarily do it, but when you get on these meds, some people aren't told like you need to eat at least 80 grams of protein. Some people aren't told you need to
True.
eat this and that. Some people are told, like I was just told, it's gonna, it's gonna control your appetite. You're not gonna be hungry. You're not gonna want to eat as much. And so, if somebody tells you that, my thinking is, okay, do as normal, like do as the Romans do, and just eat what you normally eat. You're gonna eat less of it, and that's what I started my journey doing, because that's what I was told to do. And then I realized, and then I saw my numbers going down and my weight was going down, but it was slower than I saw some people. And when I saw some people going down, one thing I did do was track my calories. So I knew what I was eating, and I was eating on that higher end of calories. I wasn't really in a huge deficit. And I also wasn't doing like, a lot of exercise where I was jumping around. I was doing like the strength training type of things, like, the stuff that, I could do at my bedpost on the side of my bed. So I think that when people start this journey, I think they have great intentions on, I'm just going to take the meds, and, I'm just going to let my appetite be what it is. And I know that's why I was losing slower, because I was actually getting a lot of calories in, right? And then as I started on my journey and things started to slow down, now you got perimenopause, menopause, all that playing into it. You got my emotions still kicking in. None of that stuff I'm really dealing with. I'm just going as I can. And when I started documenting my journey on YouTube, this brings me to June. At the end of June, this is February when I started. So at the end of June, as I'm doing my channel, I'm starting to research things, and I'm starting to figure things out and learn about, I should be changing my lifestyle, and that's when I started to get into it. And really, I didn't really kick things up a notch until I'm going on these higher doses, and I'm still not losing faster. I'm just, I'm maintaining or losing slower than slow and steady in some points. And then when my weight started to kick up a little bit is when I started to like really focus in on my diet and what I was eating. So I say all that to say, and I try to get away from like foods I can't pronounce on the back of a package, but then I was eating like protein shakes and protein drinks. And I have a sweet tooth. So I found myself eating a bunch of protein, like some of those protein bars taste like candy bars. So I was tasting everything, right? Trying to find the right fit for me. And then I realized like that was kind of doing me in. Like, so I was like, instead I was eating these things like a Snicker bar, but they were just protein bars, right? Because I'm like, okay, this is how I'm getting my calories in. And it was all working, because at the same time, I kicked my exercise up a notch. So I'm saying all that to you to say, I think a lot of people don't get that start on this journey. A lot of people didn't get the DEXA scan to say, okay, now I got to change what I'm doing. A lot of people don't come into it thinking, and I wish I would have in hindsight, but hindsight is 2020. And a lot of people don't come in here thinking like you, like Yolanda, like Brown Mound of Zepbound, like Taisha. I'm just naming the people that, I know that come in saying, hey, I'm on these meds. And now you and Taisha aren't saying I never want to be on there, or Charles, but Yolanda was saying that I want to be off. But you're saying I'm on these meds. I'm going to be a straight and narrow line. I'm going to do everything I need to do and give up whatever I need to give up and get to my goal and maintain it. I think a lot of people's journeys, I don't hear it's like that. Most, I'm hearing a lot of people are trying to figure it out as they go, and having some bumps in the road. That mindset wasn't there, like to start off that way for whatever reason. Now, some people were like, Mayor Mindy, if Mayor Mindy is out there watching, I feel like her mindset was that. And I feel like people who had that mindset told me that they were pretty much on their deathbed. Right. So those are the people that I feel like we're saying, like, okay, my A1C was up to 15 and was up so high, or the doctor told me if I didn't change my life, this was. So I say all that to say I think a lot of people got on these meds and just are doing the best they can. But I also
I
feel
agree.
like when you know better, you should do better. So this is what this is. This is a we know better. Let's try to do better. And I'm one of those people, the meds for me are like excellent, they're great, but I still have struggles with my eating. I still have emotional eating triggers and all of that. So I'm still working through some things, but I never want to be on here telling people to, eat cake and, or eat, and I was eating cake on my birthday. So for that, but I never want to be on
That's
here telling people. I always think like I'm telling people to do what I would say to my daughter to do, even if I'm not doing it, right? I'm going to say what I think is the right thing for her to do, because I just think, I don't ever want her to get into the situation where she has a weight problem. So I think moving forward, get a DEXA scan. If your favorite YouTuber is against DEXA scans, that's not you. You do what is best for you. Get a DEXA scan. We're saying get more than one. We're saying if you want to eat cake and ice cream and all of that, and that's in your calorie deficit, I'm saying if it's in your calorie deficit and your doctor is approving that you do that, do it. If that's what your doctor is and your nutritionist has planned out for you. But if your weight loss 4 years from now, you're still trying to lose weight 100, you're not at your goal, you're not at your 100 pounds down, then you got to look at why you're not at that goal. You got to look at what you're doing. And so Mel is saying, on the other hand, don't even do that. She's like, you're on these meds, you shouldn't be eating these unhealthy foods. You need to eat,
While
whole
you're,
foods.
but while you are, yeah, while you're actively losing weight, try to make some changes. You don't know if you're going to lose access at some point. And even if you don't, you need to do the right thing for your body. Feed your body. Come on. This is what got a lot of people into the situation they're in, being morbidly
Right.
obese. So to turn around and say, I'm just still, these are the foods I eat when I go to McDonald's. Okay. Is that, come on, y'all. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Dee Dee, to interrupt you. I just
No, no, no,
want to
no.
clarify.
No. And see, I differ. I think you can go to McDonald's. Now, are you going every day? No, you shouldn't be. But I think you can go to McDonald's and have
Okay.
a meal, like whatever the healthiest meal you can get there. But
Yeah,
let that not be
true.
every week, or once a month, maybe every couple months, as some sort of treat for yourself, maybe. But I think to say like forever, I'm not going to go to McDonald's until I reach my 100-pound goal. For some people, I think that's so far
Yeah,
realistic,
that's a
because
stretch for
it's
some
so
people.
far from
That is
what they
true.
were doing before. So for some people, a win is if they were going to McDonald's every day. A win is they haven't been in 3 months and now they're going. Some people
Kind of
still,
like Allie. Allie is kind of like that. She'll go to McDonald's and she's found ways that are healthier, that are, and things like that. But she does mostly eat healthy. She's even shifted her mindset. I've seen her change throughout her journey. So yeah, I think that's a really good point, Dee Dee. Yeah, you can't go from point A to point Z, but I do know that there are people who can go to a Chick-fil-A or wherever and maybe get something healthy. By the way, Chick-fil-A is not healthy. That sodium in that
yeah,
Chick-fil-A.
taste
And then
it.
people be like, I gained 5 pounds last week. Did you go to Chick-fil-A? Did you get that soup? What's that soup they have that a lot of people like? Is it chicken noodle? And it has like 2,000 grams. It has like over the daily recommended sodium for a human. So anyway, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying what I would do. So that's just
Yeah,
me. And I'm, like I said, 10 toes down, or at least don't be out here saying that you want this and you want that. But that's my only issue is don't say that. Don't expect that, because that's not going to happen. It's just not, I don't know anybody who has kept the same habits and gotten to their goal in a timely manner and
but what do you mean a
are not
timely man?
struggling. Meaning it's not taking them 3 years to lose that 75, 50 pounds. You know what I mean? A lot of times, again, friends of mine, they're just not willing to make the changes, and they'll say it and they're proud about it. And that's okay too. They're saying, no, I still want to do this. Well, have at it. Let's just not be complaining then when you're not getting to where you want to go. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you're saying so don't come don't complain
I don't want to hear it.
when you're not at your
I'm just
job.
joking, y'all.
Okay,
I can hear it. I don't mind
So
hearing
for
it.
the
I'm just
healthy
joking.
and
But I'm
unhealthy
not a
foods,
creator.
for the unhealthy foods, healthy and unhealthy, Losing It Gray says depends on who you ask on keto. Was in apple.
Bacon.
Oh, bacon. Oh, bacon was an apple. What? Did you understand that? I'm sorry. I'm not good with like
No,
acronyms
she's
and
a
all that.
teacher too, so that's cute. I like the little, but I'm not sure I know. Yeah,
So she
maybe she
said
can
on
restate it.
keto, bacon was, is she trying to say on keto, bacon is it's healthy.
It's like an apple. Yeah.
You ever tried the keto diet?
No,
No. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I like carbs. Like I like complex carbs, by the way. I eat carbs from from natural foods, from whole foods. Fruit, whole grains, that's the type of carbs I eat. I love Dave's Killer Bread, and I have like their raisin bread. Today I had 2 slices of raisin bread, but their breads are whole grain. And then I had whole grain rice with dinner, and I had fruit today. So, I eat carbs. It's just that they come from whole food sources. That's just the difference. And I enjoy them. I think I've changed my palate, and I'm so happy with what I'm eating versus the frozen food I was eating, lean cuisines. So much better, so much tastier. Yum. I love eating.
Well, and actually you eat a lot. Like when you sent me what you ate, I was like, that's a big old plate full of stuff.
I do.
Davina says it's also the dosage. If you eat a small piece of cake once a month, that does not do anything to you. But eating a sleeve of Oreos every week is terrible.
Bravo.
A rare occurrence. Okay, all right, very good. I don't like calling it cheating because it makes it sound like it's a diet, and that's not a diet for you. Okay, all right.
Right.
You
I
only eat
agree.
desserts maybe 6 times a year. Treats change. Blueberry a treat. No, blueberry is a treat instead of a whole cake. Yeah. That's an example of somebody who had an extreme thing they were doing, and maybe over time it takes time to kind of like get down to where
Adjust.
you're eating like
Yeah.
fruits. You know
I
what I'm
just wanted to give some tough love because I'm GDI. I'm not a creator. This is just my personal opinion, and this is not just anecdotal information. It's actually real life information about me and my body and some of the things that I've done. And I feel so good. I just feel incredible. So
saying?
anyway,
And Taisha says exactly. There is no cheating, no cheat days or meals, just meals. Yeah, and I don't like calling them cheat days. I say I eat extra calories on a Sunday. That's what I say. I eat
yeah,
calories. I don't really call it. But people were saying you could call it this and that and reward and this and that. I really don't like calling it a reward either. I just eat more calories on a particular day. Round
yeah.
Mountain says, I've learned to not assign a value to food. Everything in moderation. Water is good for you and necessary, but too much water will damage your kidneys. I get what Mel is saying, though, and support that. So he's saying everything in moderation.
Thank you.
But I'm saying, Brown Mountain, when you were on your journey, you said you didn't have you didn't go veer off until you got to that goal. So, and you had a donut.
Now I can do I could do everything in moderation too. Yeah, I could do that, Charles, for
So,
sure.
Charles, are you saying everything in moderation? Mel is saying everything in moderation once you reach your goal.
Wow.
Are you saying that too, or are you saying everything in moderation right now, and then when you reach your goal, even better? Can you clarify that if you're still on here? Cheat day is not in my vocab. Love that,
Yes.
Tisha. I had a cake, ice cream, and pizza at my granddaughter's birthday party, right back to clean eating the next day. Yes, I love that.
Okay.
You don't have a cheat day. Okay. Devin said, what's happening, Devin? What's happening?
Oh, Lord.
What's happening with you?
Here go Devin.
Add something to this about protein. I tried doing high protein cutout carbs and was using protein shakes that was paying for a smoothie place using high quality fresh
Fresh fruits and veggies.
protein. Oh no, wait, that's Mia. Wait, let me go down. Oh wait, where did she go? Brenda. Okay. Continue. High quality ingredients. And in 5 days, I got my first kidney stone. A lot of protein powder is
Wow.
not plant-based. There's a difference between animal protein and plant-based protein. Animal-based protein, she is like, I'm getting this in. Okay, animal-based protein, the body processes animal protein differently and can cause kidney.
Yes.
Plant-based protein is absorbed by the body differently, does not cause kidney stones unless you have a particular, Brenda is going on,
Disease.
or health condition as a pre-existing kidney disease or failure. This is science-based fact. You can research it. This is not about vegan versus carnivore. Just be careful with that high protein. And Brenda, if I had a
Somebody must have been,
profit for you.
yes. Somebody must have been saying something in there. And by the way, Smoothie King, I used to go to Smoothie King back in the day. I would go work out and get a smoothie. And then it's just, when I started doing research, I realized it's just so not good for you. It's yeah, I agree with what Brenda said. That's just my opinion.
Hold up. Wait a minute. We got a super chat. It says great conversation and insightful. Thank you both. Thank you, MVP. Let's give her a thank you for that.
Awesome.
I think this is Yeah, it started with the DEXA scan. But you know what, guys? What I am learning, even besides the exercise, because that's great. I see all these people exercising, and that I'm not a fan of that, but I am trying to pick it up. But one thing I will say is nobody can deny it's mainly what you eat. It's what you put in your mouth that can make
Absolutely.
all the difference. You could be out here sweating to the oldies, sweating up a storm, exercising your buns off, and if you're not eating correctly and eating the best, it's like,
Mm.
you're going to lose, but you're not going to lose. You're not. It's like not losing to your potential. Let's call it that. You're not going to lose to your potential because you're not eating the best. And so, yeah. And then, I always say, it's funny because I always say, when I look at my weight loss journey over the years, I'm either exercising really well, and then my eating is kind of like 60-40 instead of 80-20, or I am eating so well, I'm not working out. And so now, at the times where both roads crossed and met up perfectly is where I saw my results, right? I was doing both. And so, yeah, so it's like I kind of want to get that back. Like, you want to get that. I never want to get that old thing back, but for that, I do.
I was gonna say, you want to get that old thing back, but look, Dee Dee. Seriously, we all have our crosses to bear. I have my crosses to bear, and the people that know me and are friends of mine, like yourself and Taisha, um, certain people understand what my struggles are, and my struggles are balance and recovery. My struggle is, recently some issues with sleep because I'm just so wired up and I'm drinking too much coffee during the day. And so for me, it's about creating balance, loosening up a little bit. At first, my diet was almost perfection, and I realized I don't want to live like that, and it's not necessary. And I just loosened up and started enjoying some things that I wanted to enjoy. So I think for me, it's creating that balance. And so, as people like Kate, I don't know if she's out there, who are just now, and Nicole Bellflower, as a lot of people know her, have entered maintenance. This is the hard part, right? You don't want to be too hard on yourself, too strict. You just want to do what makes you feel good emotionally, mentally, physically. And I'm about 80-90% there, but I definitely need to work on my sleep hygiene. It was so good. And I was coaching Dee Dee on getting her sleep. And Taisha, I'm like, why are you up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning doing daily dose? Like, I'm literally saying this, and now I'm having issues with that. So yeah, we all have our cross to bear. None of us are perfect. And so I don't want anybody to think that I don't want to try to come off that way. I mean, I am the Mel B, but still, I don't want to come off that way. I just want y'all to know we all have our crosses to bear. I just want people to not fall for the okey doke not always consume content that you believe speaks your language and tells you what you want to hear. So you're over here and you're like, this, that. And you're listening to all these things because it's what you want to do. So because you want to do it, I'm going to go over here and listen to what they doing, what they saying, because that's how I want to be. Challenge yourself to listen to something a little bit outside of your lane. That's what I'm saying.
Rahel Miles says, I agree that you have to be focused during your active weight loss. Great clarification.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think I said to Mel, I said, didn't I say this? I said, I noticed that you and Taisha and Rahel Miles and Zepbound and Yolanda, and even, I would say my girl Allie. Allie is a little bit of an outlier because she stuck with the calorie deficit of it all, and that took her down where she wanted to go. She still ate things in moderation, but I would say the majority of what she was eating was the healthier, whole foods type of
Pretty
lean.
good. Yeah.
For her to lose
Agree.
130 pounds in a year or a little bit over a year, she's obviously doing it and doing it and doing it well, right? So I said those people I noticed were serious. They were eating like protein shakes and having these snacks here and snacks there and snacks everywhere for whatever reason, we can say. So what do you say, Mel, to the people who say, well, you're smaller, so you can do it. We're bigger and we have our struggles. We can't do it.
I say that's bull, is what I say. I say it's bull. That's what I say.
Wow.
That's it. And they know it's bull because just like many things in life, it's all about those sustainable changes that you make. Like, why would you downplay your own ability to make change and focus on your health? Like, yes, I had 40 pounds to lose, but guess what? In relation to my body, that was a lot. So technically, we had the same percentage or ratio of weight to lose. But again, I'm going to go back to the mindset conversation. It really is about mindset. And it's about, is this a health journey for you? Or is this a journey to lose weight? And guess what? A lot of people say, I just want to get the weight off. I don't care if I'm skin and bones. I literally heard somebody on TikTok saying, I just want to lose the weight. I don't care if I have hanging skin. I'll get surgery. Okay. If that's what you want to do, have at it. Still love you. But do not say that you want to be healthy and you want to be on a health journey and you're this and that and complaining about stuff if you're not willing to make the changes. But again, I go back to answering your question. It's a ratio thing. If I weigh 160 and I lose 25% of my weight, I'm going to be here. If you weigh 250 and you lose 25% of your weight, you're going to be here. But we're losing the same percentage. Yes, I have less and less. Yes, my journey to get to the weight loss will be shorter, but we still have to do the same things. And it was hard for me. It's actually harder the less you have to. I mean, it's harder to lose weight. Your weight loss is slower in most cases. I was so strict, mine was really fast, but I lost a bunch of muscle. And I think Taisha was similar to that, where she lost a bunch of muscle. She may not have, she wasn't in the 200s. She was in Wonderland, as they say, but she still had a lot to lose. So yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I believe that everybody who has metabolic disorder, insulin resistance, perimenopause, menopause, PCOS, I think everybody whose doctor subscribes it to them for a condition like that deserves to have access to the meds. For me, I will continue to leverage these peptides for as long as I want to. Right now, that's probably, it'll be in my toolkit in perpetuity. So it'll be like my hormone therapy. It is another tool for me to maintain my health and wellness. I do dose once a month. Most people know that. At one point, I was doing it like every 3 weeks or whatever, but and I'm on 5 milligrams right now. I also take estradiol, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I take a very small dose of testosterone every day, and I take creatine, and I feel better in my 50s than I felt back in my 30s, let's say. I just feel so much better. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I hope it makes sense.
It does. And, I will say, and I've said this a million times, my mom was a small lady and she was like a 4'6". Sometimes at one point she might have even gotten down a little bit lower than that. But when she started having female issues and had a hysterectomy, she had gotten up to a size 12. So I was telling people, I have her clothes like that are extra large,
Yes.
fit into, right? And my dad was saying, you should have kept a lot of her other stuff. And I kept like some nice pieces and things, but for the most part, I didn't. I let people who could wear them at that time wear them. So, I didn't keep a lot of stuff and I don't regret it. We didn't really even have the same style.
Yeah.
We didn't really have the same style either. But I say all that to say for her, a 12 is my goal size. Like if I could get to a 12, I'm going to be happy, but
Yeah.
that's like a size I want to get to, but that doesn't negate for her that was a big size for her. Like a person going from a 4 to a 12 is huge. And when you're a smaller person, I told you most people in my family are small. I'm one of the outliers that isn't. So when people that are smaller people gain 5 or 10 pounds, that's a clothing size for them. 5 or 10 pounds for me, you can't even feel probably. So there is a difference. And I want to say this because I want us to get away from this, oh, you didn't have as much weight to lose, so you shouldn't have anything to say. When people have cancer, I know people, and I've taken care of people that died and had stage 4 cancer. And I know I've had friends that had stage 1 cancer and stage 2 cancer and caught it. So we say to the person who has stage 4 and passed on, you can't compare that to a stage 1, can you? No. But when we celebrate cancer and survivors and people who have dealt with family and friends who've had cancer, we don't differentiate. We don't say you can celebrate this way because you're the person or you only had stage 1 and 2, and the person over here has had stage 4. We don't separate it out like that. So let's stop doing that with the weight loss. That's what I'm saying. Let's stop doing that.
Thank you.
Let's stop separating it out and saying, oh, well, you only had this. But what I will say here is if you have stage 4 and somebody who dealt with stage 4 and is no longer here, it is other things that go along with that.
Absolutely.
There is residue. There is suffering. So we can't also negate that either. But I think that we have to be empathetic to that. We have to give people grace, which is why I always say that. And we have to meet people where they are. But I'm all about excellence in whatever I do. And so I want to lead people to excellence. I don't want to lead people to mediocre. And so for me, that's even in my journey, for me, I feel like, I'm going to strive to do the best I can. I'm going to have some stumbles along the way, but I'm never going to tell anybody to take the mediocre road. I'm going to tell people to take the high road, the excellent road. Now, hopefully I'm walking that road with you, but even if I'm not, I'm going to encourage you to do that. And so I think that that's just kind of what we're saying here is that we want people to get the best they can get out of this medication. I know Mel says that. She says that to me, it's just behind the scenes. She's saying that to me. And I take it all in, it's like, if somebody has done something, everybody's a blueprint in their own way with things. And I think if you see a successful blueprint, you go with that, you use that and you take that and you go with it. So I just want that to be the message here. That we just want people to do the best they can. And we want to stop making excuses and stop, I want people to stop saying the worst case scenario. Like, to me, the worst case scenario is, oh, I can't afford this and I can't afford that. Okay. So if you can't afford Element, get the electrolyte you can afford. If you can't afford salmon, get the fish you can afford, right? You're still eating
get tilapia.
Yeah, get some.
Don't sleep on tilapia.
If you can't afford the certain protein bars, get the protein bars that you can. I mean, in the big scheme of things, some might be healthier or better than others, but you do what you can. That's why we say meet people where they are. So, I think it's like the person who some people can afford Gucci and Louis Vuitton. Some people can look better than you without the Gucci. I could wear an outfit that's not Gucci and Louis Vuitton and look better than you in your Gucci and Louis. So
that's right. Or you can do, or Dee Dee, you could have on Gucci and Poochie. You could have Poochie high low. I dress high low sometimes. Sometimes I dress too high, but I'm very financially responsible. But yeah, so I mean, again, I don't think it's about perfection. I love what you just said, and I do appreciate you for you always striving for excellence. And that is what drew me to you. And we are alike in that way. We do have differences. You're way sweeter than I am. I think I'm a sweetheart. I don't know. People always say I'm such a sweetheart, but I can be pretty direct, and you're very soft. I live a very soft life. I'm not in the way y'all think though. Don't, because that whole TikTok soft life, but I do. I live a very soft life, right? But I'm a tough cookie, and I say how I feel, you know what I mean? And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And when I speak on something, it's because I must, again, stand 10 toes down on my opinion in that, but I can also respectfully disagree with people as well. So I appreciate you. I really do. So thank you
Well,
for having me.
so I hope we put an end to this. Like, if you're not a certain size, you shouldn't be saying this or that. Now, you might not want to follow somebody that is not your size. I get that, right? Because really, you have to see people, see yourself in somebody or be able to make a connection to somebody. And that is probably what gets you, with that person. I don't know, whatever it is. So I get that. But I do think that we have to just stop, like, we got to unite. We got to unite. We
Yes.
got to come together. We're alike in more ways than we are different, and I do believe that is true. I do believe that's true. Mel tells me I'm too nice all the time. Dag, geez, Louise, I don't know how not to
Well,
be.
because I see things that I also see things that other people may not see. So what they see is beautiful, is the kindness and beauty of who you are. But then there's some back stuff that also you're extremely sensitive because you care about people. You're very empathetic. And sometimes empaths can get hurt. So that's really what I mean when I say that to you. But that's a whole different, like, live, I guess.
All right, let's try to get to some of these comments. Like the DEXA ones are all the way up. So I'm going to come down and then go back up to. We had a DEXA scan game, so maybe we'll play it the next time because I won't make it. It's 10:17.
Yes.
But it was
Yes.
it was a good game. So we'll play the next time. All right. So Davina, she says she's talking about the animal protein. Okay. And plants can be rough on the gut if you have leaky gut and low stomach acid. Same with meat. Low stomach acid means harder to break down and absorb. Yeah, that meat versus no meat. I think you just got to do what works best for you and your system. That sense of entitlement, he says, drives him bananas. Brother Paul,
Hey, Paul.
you. I'm called to speak out. Some people in our community suffer in silence. What are they suffering with?
I don't know who. Tell me who that is that suffers in silence, because I don't hear nobody being silent. Text me, Darian. We can talk about it offline.
Now,
Just
what do you
text
mean
me.
suffer in silence? Like people who struggling with the eating and all that, or just other things that contribute to the
Yeah,
eating?
I don't know.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. And
Yeah, and he does know a lot of people. He's in different circles, so I believe that. I'm kind of teasing him, but again, those are not the people we're talking about.
Darian, he's on
But
Facebook.
Darian, sometimes you have to, like, I guess the way I feel is, if I don't wait for people to, like, that action, like, I'm not waiting for an action from somebody else for me to take action. So I'm going to try to find out myself. So sometimes we don't teach good nutrition. So a lot of us didn't learn good nutrition. So then what's next? Seeking to learn, seeking understanding, in my opinion. But like I said, text me. We can talk about it or chat about it offline.
I agree with you, King Darian. We have to reach one and teach one when it comes to nutrition. Yeah, like I said, when we started the journey, a lot of people didn't get marching orders from our doctors. We just were kind of doing it on our own.
True.
Hey, we are two sides of the same coin. Look at Mia. It's a process of elimination for us as time goes on. Yes. I agree with that. And that's why I was explaining to Mel. Like, for some people, the fact that they're not just eating fast food every day is a victory, right?
It's a win. I agree.
Started off eating fast food all the time. So that's what I'm saying. We just gotta, remember that like everybody has their thing. And then just remember, and I also said this to Mel, and I'm going to say this out loud on here. Some people started off with like at 400 and 500 pounds. Like, I don't know how it is to be 500 pounds, but I know how it is to be 300. So I can only imagine what extra things you had to deal with
Yes.
being 500, 400 pounds. The way people even look at you is different when you're overweight. And I can't even imagine like being that way. So people have all that trauma. So I don't think you can expect a person who is in those
Yes.
your weights to be doing like going through this,
Yeah.
like
And you know that's not who I'm
right.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
let's be clear.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
because,
different. And by the way, some of those people, like Jamie Selzer, he was doing, I heard him on an interview, and the person that was interviewing him was like kind of saying, yeah, I just tell people just take the shot or whatever, because he's probably done, I've seen like probably 6 interviews he's done. And he was like, well, when I couldn't exercise, I just got up out of my chair and I just stood up like 4 times. You get what I'm saying? So his
mhm,
mindset, even at the weight he was at, which I think was 400, somebody will correct me, 500, whatever it was a lot. But he, you know what he said to that person who wasn't as heavy as he was? He said to that person, well, actually, I did start exercising. I just got up. I would just do chair exercises. I would just stand up like 10 times. You get what I'm saying?
mhm,
So
mhm.
there's that too. So just an FYI. But yeah, those are not, that's not even, yeah. So
Yeah,
you know how I feel about that.
it's a major it's a lot of people in this in our GLP-1 community that have had a ton of weight. A ton of weight come the more weight you have, I feel like comes with lots more trauma and a lot of things going on.
True,
To even
true.
get to that point, you gotta have a lot of things going on. And I think for me, I could never would imagine myself at 300 pounds. I always said I'm never getting to 300 pounds. When I got to that 300 pounds, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So I just can only imagine what people who get to 400 and
I
500,
can't even imagine.
yeah, go through.
Yeah. And I can't relate. And I do get that. And I respect that. I do respect that. And I receive that. That, yeah, there are some things that we just can't relate to. I can't relate to. You can't relate to.
I
And
can.
so, yeah,
I can't even relate to. So I think, and then I can think we got to be respectful of that. But that doesn't again, we strive for excellence, right? So even if, like the guy Jamie was saying, even if you're 400 and 500 pounds, if you're striving for excellence down the road, you do a little bit until you get to where you need to be. So I guess that's what my message is, you know. And I always say, give yourself grace. And Mel, you're so strict. I remember I said in a video, I said, well, my doctor says 80 pounds, but my recommendation is 90 to 120. And when I talked to Mel, she's like, well, you know,
protein,
Dee, protein,
grams of
eat the
protein.
protein. And she said, Dee, you know, people listen to you and they, you know, people respect what you say. And when you said that 80 pounds, I said 80 grams of protein. I said, well, I'm just saying what my doctor recommended. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to eat. So Mel is like, yeah, she really and that's the thing. I feel like you really want people to do well. You really want me to do well. Like,
I
you give me
do.
that gentle nudge. And like, you always talk about how excited you are for me to get to the 100 pounds down. And, you
So
know,
excited.
so I know that, you know, people probably think when you're smaller, it's easier, and it's not always easier. It's just different. And so I think we have to look at it that way. It's maybe not easier. It's just a different journey. And I think we got to respect people along the way. But I also think that, you know, hold me accountable, and everybody else is out here spreading information, because people are listening to us. You know, when people are listening to you and you're not saying things that are in the best interest, I think that, you know, that's an issue. So yeah, correct me if I am wrong. I want to be corrected. I do. I want to be corrected. Let me see. I'm going back in here. People are talking about the good nutrition of it all. I love that. Obesity is a very new thing in the numbers we're seeing. And you think so? Obesity, even just 100 years ago, was
Yes.
okay. So you're saying, okay, I get that. Yes, okay. Well, I think that's the
Yeah,
processed foods and all the things that we're eating, right? And then, you know, another thing
absolutely.
too is the social media coming along. Most people, when they're doing social media, like right now, we're sitting down, right? When you're doing social media, you're sitting. Now, I do see the young kids, like my daughter, if she has my phone, she's up moving, like she's doing something. She's always like on the go in movement zone. Little
TikTok
kids are.
challenges.
Yeah, but when you get as the older
No,
you
just
get,
kidding.
you tend to be more sedentary. You just tend to be.
Yes.
So I think but that food is definitely is what has gotten us, a lot of us, into the situation. And we don't talk about this a lot too, but the alcohol of it all. Now, I don't really say a lot about alcohol because I've never been a drinker like that. Like I said, I've never been a person who liked alcohol. I remember I had a Christmas party probably like before COVID, the year before COVID. I used to have yearly parties, and I stopped that COVID year. And people brought drinks, and I mean, I just threw them out the other day because they just not the other day, the other last summer, because they had just been sitting around and nobody was drinking them. So I'm not a drinker, but I think that's another real issue with these GLP-1s. People are drinking and
Yep.
and indulging and shouldn't be. And I say shouldn't be because it's recommended by Eli Lilly that you not really drink on these meds. So. But Round Mouth
Thank you,
says,
Charles.
listening to Mel talk with so much authority, ain't no way she's getting muted. Talk your stuff. He said, ain't no way she's getting muted. Darius said,
No,
who's
sir.
gonna check you, boo? And Taisha said, absolutely nobody. Hold up, wait a minute. Dee Dee might have to stop. You guys are so funny. That's like the Nene Leaks line. Who gonna check
Yes.
you?
Sheree.
Oh yeah.
Y'all funny. Y'all got jokes.
Okay, well, we got Nicole saying, I don't believe in a 100% elimination because it's not realistic. I just make healthier
Yeah.
choices. There's that 80-20. That's
Yeah.
80-20. Okay, we can take that. All right, all right. The kind of okay, we read Brenda. Brenda was having a moment telling us about that. We love it.
That's good. That's good.
Mia says they keep saying 25% of our body weight is what we will lose. I'm gonna blow that out of the water.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
45 pounds down. Go Mia, go
Yes.
Mia, go Mia. All right, Mia, very good. Yes, yes, yes.
Congratulations. Many people do. Many people do. I just had to stop at some point. So, and yeah, and I think that's a good difference right there. Like the percentage of body weight I had to lose, was different. So my journey, as I think I mentioned, was just shorter. But I'm excited for Mia because I know she has been, she's worked hard.
Yes, Mia. Yes, we are excited for you. Everything in life is transactional. There's a trade-off for convenience. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. You are 100%. I'm gonna give you some confetti on that, Davina. Very good. You're right. Oh gosh,
Well said.
you guys are awesome. And you're like dropping gems. I love to say that. Just kind of sick of the hamster wheel, says Bellflower. And the narrative at times still sounds like diet culture, yo-yo diet, just with an added GOP. She said, just pray for true deliverance for the folk who truly want it. Yes, I can hear
Okay.
her who want to
True
change. I can
deliverance.
hear her saying that. She
That's
said,
right.
folk who want it. I know that's right. All right.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Let's give her some confetti. Dropping those gems. We love that. Okay, what is cousin Paul?
Love that.
Not cousin, that's my brother Paul. What is brother Paul saying?
My
Wait a
cousin.
minute. He says, here's my thing. Why try to reinvent the wheel? They actually give us a blueprint so that we could do our best to get out of these medications. Okay, all right, very good. And that's another thing we could talk about another day. Some people see themselves on these medications forever. Some
No,
people.
I don't think that's what he was saying, though, Dee Dee.
Oh,
You need your
okay.
glasses. He was saying
No,
they
no, no,
actually
I
give us.
read it right. I read it right. I just interpreted it different.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
It said they actually give us a blueprint so that we can get the best out of these medications. Okay, yeah, I interpret. Okay, all right, very good, very
Yeah,
good. Okay, I was gonna say that's another debate that's up for that we could talk about
it
another
is.
day. Is people who want to be on versus people who see themselves getting off. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Mia says, thanks, Cookie. People are congratulating her. My mind is working overtime. to
I know it is, Darian.
The mind is powerful. The meds is a leg up, but you still have to do the work. People's psychology is jacked up, but it's not completely their fault. But there is some accountability that you must have. Yes,
Period.
yes. I think that's what Mel is saying. Okay. All right. Very good. Let's give her some confetti. Dropping gems. Dropping gems.
Dr.
Okay.
James.
Very good. My other guest texted me and said she does not want to come on. She's enjoying the conversation and just sitting back
Aw.
and listening. I have my obesity and recovery just like any other disease. Excellent. That's a great
There
way
you
to
go.
look at it. Mia, you are a beauty. Okay, our guy is coming in here. What's going on? How are you doing?
He's,
He said,
he said,
"Hello,
hello, hello.
girl." That reminds me of Tyler Perry.
Yes. Touche.
Oh my goodness. Then there are just genes, the genes of it all. You have folks like George Burns that lived to 100 with his cigar and scotch. We all know someone who's 100 plus, their great grandmother that dips and drinks. Oh, like, yeah, that is so true. That is so true. So yeah, I always say, I still think, you do what you can do that's on the right path, but ultimately God is the final decision maker, right? That's how I look at it. I
I
haven't
believe
eaten
that.
any
I
kind of
believe
food,
that.
fast food in 6 months. Excellent. Very good. Let's give her some confetti. That is
Bravo, girl. That's
that is
awesome. That's
excellent.
awesome.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Darium said, I've learned overeating doesn't cause obesity. Obesity causes overeating. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Very good. Let's see. I can count on one hand the number of times I've gone through a drive-through for fast food since I started Zepbound. A complete 180 for me. Yes, 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 yes. And I remember I always tell you the story about how my daughter says, "Mommy, how come those people don't come and drop off food anymore?" And she was talking about DoorDash because I was
That is so
doing
funny.
3 to 4 times a week. So that's what I'm saying. See, from somebody like me, like that is just
That's excellent. That's a win.
that's coming a
But
long
Dee,
way.
you should think about maybe covering what Darium said, because I know I think it was at the OCA conference, and there was a woman that did a talk, and there are, she's made that statement that Darium put up there, but I think that's for another time. I don't think we can
Sure,
cover
yeah,
it.
that's why
It's
I didn't know we couldn't
10:30.
get into it.
But that's a whole different, yeah, it's not a matter of whether that's true or not. It's a matter of how about people who are overweight who don't have the disease of obesity. So they don't have the obesity, they don't have the disease of obesity. So how is that kind of squared away? So I think it's a really interesting
Yeah,
conversation.
we could get into that another time, but I do want to say
Girl, that's a whole different,
I think sometimes
yeah.
people just overeat and just eat their feelings and eat too much processed foods and the unhealthy foods. I mean, everything doesn't have to be so profound. I don't feel like it is. I
No,
feel like sometimes people just
I understand.
overeat, eat their feelings and eat for comfort or whatever they're eating for. So
But what does, yes,
yeah, and so I
but what does that, like, I guess my only question about that when you do cover it is, what does that mean? Okay, so overeating does not cause obesity. Obesity causes overeating. What is the action? Because I'm all about action. Okay, we know that, right? So what is the action? And so for people on
action probably would
GLP-1s,
be
the
what's going on
action,
in your body that is making you obese. And they're saying
no, but what do you
food.
do? So my question is, that statement, like you said, is profound. What do you do with it? What does that mean? So what does that mean? So are we saying that because obesity causes overeating, now what? You take the GLP-1 and you still do what you want to do? No. So I agree with that statement, but I just subscribe to a mindset that you take action. The first action is, a lot of people are on the GLP-1s, but it doesn't stop there. So I think that's where I am. I agree with the statement. The actions that come after the statement is what I think I focus on. Like, okay, so obesity causes overeating. Yeah, we know that. And what? And you take GLP-1, you make lifestyle changes, responsible lifestyle changes. That's what you do.
And obesity is a disease. So does that mean that everybody that's obese has the disease of obesity?
My
Does
doctor
that mean
says no.
that? That's what I'm saying. That's a discussion
No.
for another day. Because some people would say yes. And I
Yeah, some people would say, yeah, that's true. It's a
and I say,
conversation. It needs to be had.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree with you. It's
So
a
what
conversation
about those
needs
people
to be
that
had.
can eat all the things that are would make me blow up, but somebody else could eat all those things and they never gain weight? What about that?
And they're not obese. Yeah, that's my point. They're not obese. So
Right,
over, you know what I
which
mean?
lends to the argument of that statement that supports that statement a little bit more, right? If you say something like
Yeah,
that.
because if they're not obese, so obesity didn't cause overeating for them. So does obesity always cause overeating? Yeah, that's a real good
It
conversation.
could depend on the person too, I would imagine. So
Yeah.
Darian, are you going to come on here and have that conversation? Darian's like,
Okay.
let's
I
take it to the
challenge you, King Darian, to
So
come
Darian, okay, so let me
here.
ask you. And you know what? I'm gonna have Mel text you this. I'm not gonna say it out loud. I just had an idea, Mel. I'm gonna have you after this
What is
present.
the idea? Have him come on
No, no,
and
no. I'm
be
gonna tell you after this live. Okay, so
okay.
I learned okay, you said that. Okay, wait, let's scroll down.
Okay.
Okay. Most fat food is highly processed and high in sodium. And you know, Taisha, let me tell you. So, you know, my daughter had this honor. She was the person of the week at her school. And so anyway, she told me she was last week. And I said, well, let me see the certificate. When the certificate comes home, then we'll reward you. So she wanted, so I let her choose wherever she wants to go. And this little lady, most of the time she chooses Bath and Body Works, right? She likes to go in there and smell it. Like she likes to smell all the things, and she gets to spend like, I give her like $10 or something. She can't buy much because really she should be putting that on her little skin. But she'll get like some chapstick. The next thing you know, she got little splits in her lips where the chapstick did mess her lips up, but she loves it, right? So this time she chose ice cream. So we go to that little ice cream store, and the lady told her, you know, she was like, she was tasting different things. And she's all about her chocolate. But this time she tasted strawberry. And so the lady was like, this is vegan strawberry, you know, ice cream. Or she said it's like a sorbet, I think she said, like
Oh yeah.
sorbet. And she was like, it's really good. So my daughter said, well, I like the regular the strawberry. I want to taste that. Well, they were out. So she tasted a few other things. She ended up getting the vegan strawberry ice cream. So, you know, we get in the car, we're driving home, and I'm starting up the car. She's like, let's call Simply Taisha. And I said, for what? She's like, because I'm eating a vegan ice cream. And I said, I
That
don't know what
is so
Simply Taisha
hilarious. That's
doing.
so cute.
I said, but Simply Taisha doesn't eat this. I said, Simply Taisha. She's like, she doesn't. I said, no, I said, Simply Taisha probably will be eating like peanut butter, her peanut butter, dessert with her blueberries and strawberries. And she's like, well, you got to tell her this. This is so good. She's like, I'm going to get this the next time I come. So I tasted it because she was raving about this. She said, this is like moved up.
Oh, the vegan ice
Yeah.
creams are
Now
good.
I've had vegan ice cream, but it doesn't always taste like this one did. I'm telling you, this was a good one. So I tasted it. You could taste real strawberries was in it and all of that. So I told you all that to say, you know, so I talked to Taisha and I'm telling her about this, you know. So Taisha's like, yeah, I'm going to make my own ice cream. I said, I told her, you don't really eat
Yes.
processed foods. So, you know, I guess that would be processed. I don't know how they made it, but she
Yeah.
said she's into, you know, if she ate the ice cream, she would make her own. So I just think like Taisha is like, she's not going for that fast food. And my daughter was all about like, well, she got to try this. I thought that was so cute. All right, so let's see. Okay, the center food, it is not God, it's purely fuel, so we don't diet or become ill. Yeah, you know what? We've gotten away from that. You know, food is at the center of everything. And so I think we've totally gotten away from using it as fuel. But you know, like your athletes and those people have learned to do that. And I always say, I wish I could learn. I'm on the journey to learning to do that. Simply Tommy says, stop saying I want to taste this. You already know what it is. tastes like. It helped us to get where we are. Okay, she's like, I am hot and bothered. All right, I love that. Let's give her some confetti. Okay, all right. Well, Mel, you got more people agreeing with you than you thought. Okay,
Really?
let's see. People are saying, Darian. Let's see. Chick-fil-A just ain't good tasting food. That's that and Cane's nasty. Now I do like Cane's chicken. Chick-fil-A, I do like their grilled chicken salads. I think those Cobb salads are so good. Without the bacon, I get. The email to the B. I'm
We're
watching a
probably behind.
do the exact same thing. Yeah, I think we're way behind. Mel is like, I don't want to hear your yapping.
No, CD.
Oh my gosh. Keto worked for me, but I didn't have enough willpower to decline my Spanish roots. Okay, okay. All
The
right.
rice, I
Power
know.
after
The
9 months.
beans.
It's easier to eat high volume food. This is a tough love day. Yes. I think you have a tough love video out. I watched it, Taisha, but I didn't comment yet. But I thought it was good. I go to McDonald's every day. My daughter works there and she has adjusted her eating because she gained a lot. She is considering a GLP-1 also. All right. So when you say you go to McDonald's every day, you have, oh, she says, I don't eat McDonald's. Okay. But you
She was
take
like,
your
let me
meals
clarify. Yeah.
Okay. It's a rare quality to see someone who preaches hard work and actually works harder than anyone else. I respect that. Hashtag tough love. And thank you again for the super
Oh,
chat.
thank you.
I've never started my
Thank you, Grace.
GLP-1 journey or successfully lost 75 pounds so far if I didn't give myself grace with food choices and my activity goal. I'm meeting myself where I'm at, and I'm happy with the path I chose. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I am too. I agree. You got to start,
That's
give
right.
yourself grace, start where you are, do all the things, do the
Absolutely.
best you can do. And I just say, don't quit. Just don't quit. If you're doing, it just might, if it might take you longer and you just, don't complain, go with the flow and do what you can do. I love that. Let's give her some confetti.
Yeah, for sure.
That is me. We're kind of,
And everybody is different too. Everybody and everybody. I say that a lot because I do believe that. But I do think more often than not, people suffer and struggle unnecessarily. But
thank you for the reality check, Mel. We need the harsh truth. I circle back once she said during active weight loss to stay focused, and I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I was on the mission. Yeah, that's what you
yes,
said
you were.
that was it just I was struck by that because you said you did not cheat one time. And I don't mean cheat, but just eat anything off your, what you had as your healthy lifestyle meal plan until you hit your goal. And when you hit your goal, you said, then I gave myself a treat. And I just thought, an excellent way to think about it, an excellent way to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I'm not doing it, I can respect the hustle. I circle back. Okay, very good. I wish a week was 20 days. Then I can have nachos 3 days a week and be considered
Percentage-wise, right?
It's
Yeah.
clever. She's
She's
no
funny.
nonsense too. Okay, so
Yeah, she is number.
all right, so I'm in the category with Jess and Nicole. Okay. Thank you, Mel. I couldn't remember the name when it was Smoothie King. They gave me Smoothie. One of my friends,
Yes.
my daughter's godmother owned 3 Smoothie King franchises and just
Yeah.
sold them all, and now she's building storage units. So I'm not going to talk down about Smoothie King, but yeah, you got to be careful what you're ordering. My grandson's birthday is today. I celebrated his first birthday and didn't eat any because I just started my journey. Oh my goodness. Well, let's give your grandson a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Okay. And we're going to give you some
And congrats, Simply.
Yes.
Congrats, Simply Tommy Bites Life. Interested in what that name means.
Yes. You
You
know,
got to tell
Simply
us one day.
Sounds like I'm gonna tell you, she has this. I remember you made this video. This is what I didn't even know. Now I just made the connection. But you made this video, and I must have watched it twice because you had another channel and you used the video on that other channel on your own video, and YouTube didn't monetize you. And I was like, I was thinking about doing that at one point, and that watching your video made me
Wow.
do that because I'm like, I didn't know YouTube could demonetize you for using your own video. Isn't that crazy? So, but
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that was you, right? Because I saw your video. I watched that video a couple of times. You steered me the right way. Let's see. So what? Let me see. I'm off.
Hmm.
We got another super chat coming in hot. Who is this? Let me go here. Here we got, oh, it's Calamity Jane. Thank you. She says, regarding obesity and overeating, it comes down to managing what is happening with insulin and glucose. Insulin resistance causes
Yes,
cravings and overeating. Let's talk. Yes, and I will say,
I agree.
Mel and I were having this conversation too. And that's another thing with the constant snacking. Every time you eat, your insulin level
Insulin
raises.
shoots up.
Yeah, your blood sugar level raises. And I don't think I really ever thought about that in that way. And I think that's probably why fasting is so great. Although you run a risk of on these GLP-1s of your blood sugar going too low. So you kind of have to monitor that with the doctor. And when Mel says these things, like I know somebody said, be careful with creatine because, if you have kidney disease. But remember, Mel is working closely with her doctor. She's not just doing these things and
Yes,
putting them
ma'am.
into practice on her own. But
Yes, I
we
am.
do want to say we're not doctors, we
Mm-mm, not a doctor.
talking about our experiences, and we always encourage you to talk to your doctor. But I agree 100%, and thank you for that, JC. Um, and then we have another super chat from Brenda. Brenda, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. We appreciate you. Let's give her a thank you. Love it. Duh. Okay, let's go. I'm trying to get through this chat. If you see something that stands out, let me know the time,
Oh,
Mel.
yeah. Let me look and see. It's almost 11 p.m., girl.
Okay, we gotta get out of here.
Girl, let's go. No, look at me. I'm talking about let's go like us. Girl,
People can eat whatever they want and stay skinny, still get type 2 diabetes, visceral fat around their organs, and it's likely to catch up with their health eventually. You are right. That is so true. That is so true. I agree. You talking about my daughter? She's so cute. Yeah, she is funny. She's like everything that's vegan. She's like Miss Taisha. Me too, Taisha. As long as I worked out, I could eat whatever I wanted. The last few years before Zepbound, I ate perfect, worked out, and gained and gained. Come to find out, perimenopause. Well, that just leads us into we have a panel that we're going to be talking about perimenopause. And I'm trying to get this video out. Taisha asked me today, when is that doctor video coming out? I was going to I started editing it, Taisha, and I was going to finish after this live, but this live has lived on too long. For
oof,
me to
it's
I'm going to bed. So I'm going to work on that video tomorrow. And my goal is to get it out tomorrow night or Friday, but for sure. But I have another one. I did that, and then I did a second one. Like this whole doctor thing, it's a lot going on with that. But remember, on Saturday we are back. The menopause panel. So we're going to be talking about menopause. Where are they now? Where are we now? Type of conversation. We're going to be talking about HRT versus BHRT. We're going to be talking about what your options are. And then we want to hear from you because the last time we kind of spoke and talked a lot. This time we want to kind of talk to people, but a lot of people said I've heard people, not heard, but people have told me that they have went and gotten treatment based on that panel, right? So we want to talk about where you are now, what your options are, what hormones you should be asking for with your hormone panel for your doctor. We're just going to talk about it all. So come on Saturday. That's Saturday at 7. It's myself. It's Lorraine. It's Mel to the B. And it's simply Taisha. Of the 4 of us, we are talking and chatting about it. So, and I have some big news. I'm going to announce it at that Sunday, Saturday, at that Saturday, at that Saturday live. So it's Saturday at 7.
thank
It's
you.
always Eastern. We're always Eastern. 7 p.m. Eastern is the time. We're going live. We're going live. All right. Any other comments? Let's see. Not everyone has the same reason for being overweight and obese, but they have the disease nonetheless. Otherwise, they wouldn't be overweight or obese. Okay, all right. We got to really talk about this because I kind of
I
want
don't
to
know.
unpack.
My doctor disagrees with that.
Your doctor says no, so you have to let us know why. Heck yeah, I'm loving this healthier version of me. We did it. I love that.
We did it. Yes.
Your taste buds are changing. Love these things before, now you don't. A lot of people do say that. A lot of people do say that. So what?
That's how I feel.
MVP. You know, I wonder if would you come on and talk to us about some of these topics because you're very well educated and knowledgeable. So that's going to be our next. We're going to have to finish that discussion about that. The disease of obesity, the obesity of it all. I have seen on Zepbound where my blood glucose goes beyond 180. My food cravings comes back. Okay, all right. So you're monitoring that even on Zepbound, huh? So I know a lot of people on Mounjaro are diabetic monitoring things, but you're even doing it. Okay, so yes, thank you, Taisha. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we're gonna be out of here. I didn't get to a lot of those DEXA scan comments.
And
Do you see any DEXA scan comments at the beginning that you want to point out, Mel? We were just kind of chopping it up.
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you
All
touched
right.
on some of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I got to some of them, but not nearly enough. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You know, we appreciate you guys. This conversation kind of took a different path, which is good though, because we're on here chatting it up. I love it. I think we hit on some good points. Anything else you want to say, Mel, before we end, and then we can skedaddle on off of this live.
I'm about to blow out my lavender candle, and I am going to go take a quick shower, and I am going to get in the bed and just wind down. My sleep time tonight is 12:45, so I still have a couple hours to be up. But what I want to say is thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your empathy. Thank you for your kindness. And thank you for creating a platform, even for those like myself who are not a creator, but have something to add to the conversation. And I think this is healthy. This is good for us. We all aren't going to always agree, but we do agree on one thing. We all want to be healthier, better, have health span and all the things. So I just appreciate you, but you know that. I tell you
Well,
that.
thank
So thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being fearless. And, even though you might not think your opinion is popular, you're still sharing your knowledge with us. And we all really look to you for this menopause, the DEXA scan. You're so knowledgeable. You're leading by example. So I think that's the great thing. You're leading by example with,
Thank
all you
you.
bring. So have a great night. Get that 7 hours. I hope you can get that 7 hours. And I'll talk to you.
I'm getting 7.5.
You get 17.
7.5.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Thank you to my moderator, Simply Taisha
Thank you, guys.
Power, for covering it because Mail to the B is usually on it, but she was up here. Mia, I got to tell you, if you're still on here, I enjoyed seeing your picture. You are a beauty. Thank you for sharing that, coming on here and sharing your picture. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you on Friday. Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Bye.